You can step into my world, see the way I see it, no matter near or far. It is a sight worth seeing. Step into my world, see the way I see it. Rivah TV.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Please excuse me, okay? I'm trying to get my light together. I was trying to get all the technicalities work out because I thought I had more time. Okay, I thought I had more time, but we're not gonna wait. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into the video. I want to give you guys a little bit of a backstory as to what this conversation is about, what inspired me to even have this conversation. I want to let y'all know what's going on. Okay. But first, of course, I have to say thank you so much, Kendra, for always being on point with this. Okay. You are always on point, you know, doing the job that a moderator should. Okay. So I thank you so much for always showing support. Montel, hello to you as well. Good evening. Alexa, is it Lene? Hello, girl. How you doing, girl? And then I see somebody, is it J Joe 4040 saying, what up, Riva? What up? Okay. What is up? Don't forget to like the stream on the way in. Guys, this time for this conversation, we're going to take our time. Okay. We are definitely going to take our time because there's so many different aspects of this conversation that we need to hit the nail on the head on. Okay. So first things first, I did a couple different reactions. I did one reaction where, the woman was saying that she can do every single thing for a man and she doesn't understand as to why, if I cook for him, if I clean for him, if I'm doing all of these things, what is it that is going to make it that, this guy doesn't want to be with me? Or she was saying that, some guys have one foot in and one foot out in a relationship. And a woman can offer, supply, give everything that she absolutely wants to give. And she can't understand why that's not enough for some men. Right. And so the gentleman that she spoke to was letting her know, like, well, whatever it is that you want, or you think is a lot, or you think is enough, that's what you think is enough. But men are not wired the same way that women do. Men do not think the same way that women do. So obviously, what it is that you're suggesting is enough. What it is that you're suggesting is good enough just might not be exactly what the guy or with your man or what your husband might deem as good enough in a relationship, because again, we are wired differently. Kashan, thank you so much for joining. I dropped the link so you can come whenever you want to. Somebody, Frenchy K 757, peace to you as well. Beast Lee said, hola, beautiful. Hello, thank you so much for the compliment. And again, guys, don't forget to like the stream on the way in. Okay. So based off of that conversation saying, what is enough, what's not enough, what you can and cannot do to make a guy leave, stay, or whatever. The interesting part about the conversation is that women have this mindset, okay? And we know this as the common narrative. How do we know this? Because in most conversations, it's always the same exact thing, right? The same conversation. Oh, well, I cook for you. Well, I clean for you. Well, I do this for you and I do that for you. So this should signify that you're going to stay with me forever. This should signify that you're going to be with me for the rest of your life. Now that we're married and I'm keep a clean home and I make different meals and I you know I would say rub your back if you ask me to, but I think that's very relative. Okay, that sometimes that's not that's easier said than done in most relationships. But women forget the aspect of, are you, as the partner that's in the relationship, are you somebody that this person wants to come home to? Are you somebody that this person wants to spend time with? Are you somebody that this person enjoys being around? Not just because you cook and you clean does that mean that they are going to enjoy being around you. Come on, we can talk about this all day long. Some people, their mother cooks and cleans all day long. It doesn't mean that when they have a free Friday night that they're just automatically going to go drive over and hang out with their mom. Let's be honest. Okay? And if we're not careful, more times than not, he tends to see you in that same exact light. Got tech. Hey to you as well. Thank you so much for always telling me what's going on with my audio. Guys, let me make a quick disclaimer. If you watch my, obviously, maybe if you're here, you obviously watch my reaction videos. Listen, because of so many people who were complaining that they were having trouble with my audio, I then amped up my sound, right? And then through amping up my sound, it kind of dimmed the other sound. So I am finding the balance. I'm working on it. Please bear with me. I promise it is going to be rectified. But anyway, if we're not careful, okay, as women who get into relationships with men, you do start to have this mothering effect, right? So you start to, get around your spouse or whatever. And now you're in a space of telling him he needs to pick up his socks. He needs to pick up his this. Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? Instead of just, having adult like conversations, the situation kind of changes a bit. Okay. You start to talk at your man. You start to become this nagging woman. Okay. So instead of him looking at you as a spouse, instead of him looking at you as a companion, as his girl, now he's reminded of, this is exactly how it used to be when I was growing up with my mom and my dad. Right. This is exactly how it used to be when my mom would tell me things. This is exactly how I would feel. Okay. For lack of better words, you start to kind of like, quote unquote, boy him up. Treat him as if he's a a boy, especially if you have children in your home, you start to treat him like an additional child in your home, okay? So what you think you're doing, you think that you are effectively communicating like, "I have a problem. Like, today I have an issue, okay? And because I have an issue, I'm going to communicate the issue because if I don't communicate whatever it is that's bothering me, then he's not going to know how I feel. He's not going to know how to operate." Communication is fine. However, we have a lot of people who do not know how to effectively communicate. Okay? So, when you start noticing that you are voicing your opinion, and Kashan, I do see you in the back. I'm gonna let you up in just a second. Um, so when you start noticing that while you're in this relationship, you are, effectively in your mind, okay, in your feminine mind, your woman mind, you feel like I am effectively communicating because I see an issue, I see a problem, maybe you have children, maybe you don't. I need help doing this. I need help around the house. I need help this, or I need you to take me on a date once a week. Okay. Because we're getting caught up in our daily lives. We're getting caught up in our own businesses or whatever it is that we have going on. And I want to communicate that I want to see you more. Right. We have to be very mindful that how you think your communication is coming across and how you think your communication is coming out, it is not. You think that when you're saying, "Well, I just feel like this and I just feel like, well, I don't understand because you never and da 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 da," and he hears like that teacher's voice on like on Charlie Brown like wah 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 wah. He's already tuning you out. So again, your intentions might be good. Your intention might be, I want to have this conversation with you, or I want to talk to you. I want to express the way that I feel. I want to express the way that you make me feel. But again, how it's coming across is the complete opposite. It's coming across as you're talking at me. It's coming across that you are yelling at me. It's coming across that you are, talking down to me, trying to emasculate me. And we have to remember that men are completely different than women. Let's be honest. Okay? Men are completely different than women are. When a man is communicating, men are very straight to the point. A man will say, I want this. I don't like this. I want that. I don't want that. If you do this, it's going to cause me to do this. Okay? Let's keep it real. Now you have to understand how it is that you have to be able to communicate and maneuver with your man so that that same thrill that was there from the beginning stays the same. A lot of men get into relationships with women, and the reason why you're even in a relationship with this man is because he's so interested in you. Oh, the mystique, you know, or oh, her beauty, or oh, I love how feminine she is, or oh, I love how soft spoken she is, or whatever it is, right? And then this is and let me just be honest. This is how we see so many women who are beautiful, feminine. Well, we would think that they're feminine, beautiful women who end up single or alone or aren't in long-term relationships. The reason being because the more he got to know you, the more he was like, "Damn, this girl is annoying as hell. I thought she had it all together. I thought she was super mature. I thought that she was super laid back. The minute that we get into a relationship, every 5 seconds, she got to ask me where I'm going. If my phone rings, she has to get up and go look and check the phone and see who's calling me. I can't even go to the gas station without her saying, I want to come. Like, want to come where? Why? For what? And I hope that a lot of women tune into this and understand the dynamics of this conversation, because I want to be clear, right? I want to be very clear. It doesn't mean that your heart is not in the right place, okay? It doesn't mean that you are not expressing yourself and telling how you feel, but you do have to be mindful of the other person who is on the receiving end of that conversation. So when you are constantly dialoguing, when you are constantly asking a question, or when you're always constantly talking about how you feel every single day, any given day, whether he does something that you think hurt your feelings or whether you want to just dwell on the things that you did before, you're having the conversation um you're having the conversation on deaf ears. I don't know how another way to say it. Okay? You're basically becoming like a broken record. You're saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. He heard you the first time. And I think that a lot of women do not give men enough credit. Okay? Men are very much aware of what your issue or what your problem is in the relationship. Whenever you have a conversation with your man and you're saying, but I just want you to understand where I'm coming from, he already does. He understood where you were coming from before you started the conversation. He understood why you were annoyed before you had a conversation with him. He's been aware. Okay? He already knew what was up. So it's very vital, again, that we learn as women how to effectively talk to our spouses and not at them and not nag them. And you want to know another very, very key, intricate part? Tone of voice. I'm going to say that again. A very key part in effective communication where you're not nagging, where you don't sound annoying, where he feels like, okay, at this point, I know that I got off of work and maybe, okay, maybe just maybe she's not the type of female that is going to argue with me when I come home from work. We're not going to be, butting heads when I come home from work. We're not going to be, having like a dispute when I come home from work. However, as soon as I walk through the door, I don't want to hear her nagging voice. So instead, I'm going to go to the gym and spend as much time as I can. And then I'm going to go to the bathroom when I get home and stay in there on my phone as long as I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and hurry up and take a shower. And then I'm going to eat with you. Okay. To show you that I respect you. I don't want you to feel like I'm disrespecting you. But then I'm going to purposely watch something or do something that I know for a fact that you don't like, so that I can have time and peace and quiet, because as we all know, men value their peace more than anything. So maybe you're not the woman that's aggressive, right? Maybe you're not the woman who is completely argumentative, and maybe you're not even disrespectful. But that doesn't mean that you're out of the woods, okay? Because I know that there's a lot of women who feel like, oh, well, they talk about these modern women with these modern mindsets. I'm not that type of woman. I'm not disrespectful to him. I don't, feel like I have to have the last word. I don't feel like I have to, emasculate him to have a conversation. But it doesn't mean that you are creating a safe space or a place of peace for your man either. So this aspect, okay, this is another very large aspect of the situation. You're annoying. Every time that you say something out of your mouth, it sounds like, oh my God, how come? But when you did, but what about me? But how come? And it sounds like a broken record. Okay. So tone of voice. Once you hear you're talking to your spouse or talking to your man and your tone skyrockets to the roof. And I'm a singer. Okay. So I know about tone and keys. Once your voice hits a certain pitch that's above your normal tone, when you're cool, calm, and collected, that's above, your normal, how you are when you're on the phone with somebody. Once, and Kirk, I see you in the back. I'm gonna bring you guys, you and Kashawn, right up in a second. Once you see that your tone hits a certain key, just know I can guarantee you, you're annoying him. If you think I'm talking to you, you're probably annoying him. Okay? So key, tone. They can't hear you. They start to drown you out. So whatever it is that you wanted to, have the conversation about, or whatever it is that you wanted to express, don't even worry about expressing it, because he can't hear you, because it's annoying. Okay? And let me go to the other one. The next thing is, if it's not the tone, it's the speed of communication. How am I supposed to do this? Because if you do this, da 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 da. Well, how come? Blah 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 blah. But if he use you, he can't hear you. And once a man starts to look at his girl, his beautiful prize, okay? I didn't say you are the prize. I'm just saying his beautiful prize. Okay? That's what I'm saying. His jewel, his diamond. Once he starts to look at you in a space of like, damn, she's annoying, you can guarantee that certain things are going to start to drift. Okay? You guys are not going to be cuddled up on the couch watching Netflix and watching movies and, hanging out with each other. No. Because every time that you constantly do things, and I want to give you guys a little bit of a key right here, okay? Every time that you do something in a relationship with a man, with a woman, you can tell that women are really, oh, Tech, thank you so much for, I see you in the back. I'm going to bring you guys up all in a second. Every time that you see people sorry, I got distracted. Every time that you see two people in a relationship, right? As a woman, whenever a woman does something that's not right in the relationship, the first thing that happens is as soon as you talk to her about it and you try to confront her about the situation, she's going to start deflecting, right? Once you get her in a corner and say, you did this, no, you're wrong, because she doesn't want to be wrong, she's going to start deflecting. She's going to start picking things out of thin air, and she's going to start just saying things. And the minute that you say to her, no, that's not what you said. You said this. Or the minute that you say, no, I didn't say that. What did I say? I can guarantee you that she's not going to remember exactly what you said. Okay. She's going to paraphrase it how she heard what you said, not exactly what you said. Right? When a man is in a disagreement, he's very sure about what it is that he's saying. He's very precise about the conversation that he's having. I'm not talking about when emotions are all over the place, right? I'm not talking about when people are overly, exerting so much energy because they're so angry. More times than not, when they're having a disagreement, that man is going to be able to precisely say what his issue is, what his problem is, and he is keeping track of the conversation. He doesn't lose what he said. He doesn't forget what you said. He stays on point. Okay? So when we transfer that into conversation, it shows the clear difference of how women communicate and how men communicate. Sometimes women are talking, and to be honest, they're just talking. What they're saying doesn't have any merit. What they're saying is not based on fact. What they're saying is solely based off of hormonal changes, emotions, or feelings. And maybe their feelings feel valid to them in the moment. But I can guarantee you that if they weren't feeling that specific way that day, tomorrow, if you said the same exact thing, it wouldn't be, uh, disappointing to her. She wouldn't feel like she had to combat you or say something to you about any situation because she feels differently. Feelings are fleeting. So when you are constantly, okay, and for the people in the back, I'm rounding this up so I can bring you guys up because I definitely want to hear from the man's perspective, because I am a woman and I am trying to talk to other women and let them know what I know. Okay, as a woman who deals with a man, and because I know the things that are of female nature, but I definitely want to hear the perspective of all the men that are in the back. Um, so you cannot come at him. You cannot combat him. Man, when men are in relationships, the same way that you forgot what you said, they don't forget anything. So if you got on his nerves this time and you were annoying, and then you got on his nerve this time 2 days later and you were annoying, and then you got on his nerve this time 3 days later and you were annoying, you know what? It starts to distort the way that he sees you. It starts to distort his vision, and now he only sees you as this annoying woman. You're no longer fine. You no longer got it like that. You no longer become the baddie that he think he scooped up and got. You become a woman who is annoying. That's it. So the effect that you think that you still have in the relationship, when you walk past him and you sway and you look at him and you give him that look and all this kind of stuff, all he sees is somebody who is really annoying. Really annoying. When you guys are chilling and you guys are talking and y'all watching TV, Netflix or whatever, and you're talking to him in a certain tone, remember that tone when you also are not getting your quote unquote way. Okay? Remember that tone when maybe you're not as happy, and stick to that. That is a key. Listen, this is like keys that I'm giving right now. So if you're watching this live stream or if you're watching the replay, whenever this is posted, I'm telling you, I'm giving you keys. And if you feel as a woman, if you feel like this is possibly you, just take this piece of advice and just put it in your pocket, and when you need it, just pull it out. Tone. Again, the speed of talking. And I saw somebody had already somebody in the comment section mention my next point. Being all up on him. Okay? As I said in the beginning of this conversation, he's going to the grocery store. You want to go. He gonna go put gas in the car. You want to go. He's gonna go wash the car. You want to go. If you want to go all the time because of your own insecurities, that's a whole we're gonna have to have a different conversation with you. But if you want to go all the time because you're just so in love with him and like, oh baby, I just want to be with you all the time. Again, this conversation is geared to not people who are disrespectful when they're arguing, not people who, emasculate men because they think that that's the only way. A lot of women think that's the only way that a man can get turned off by you in a relationship or look elsewhere, step out, whatever the case is, lose interest in you. A lot of women think the only way is if a woman is in her masculine energy and if she's disrespectful. No, you can be as feminine as they come and annoying as hell. So annoying. Like, annoying. Okay. So if he has to go everywhere and you want to go with him because I just love you and I just want to be and I just want to and I just the whole point of keeping the magic in a relationship is sometimes you got to be apart from each other. Okay? It does it doesn't mean that you got to be apart from each other for the whole entire day. It doesn't mean for months at a time, for weeks at a time, but it does mean at some point he has to go somewhere and you have to go somewhere. And just to put this in here, if it is a part of insecurity, I just want to let you know that you will always have those insecurities because how will you know if this person truly and genuinely wants to be with you if you're always with them and you don't give them a chance to show and prove how interested and intrigued that they are in you? You want to know, and this is attached to the other thing that's annoying. The other thing that's annoying? So you always want to be with him. You're always talking to. Okay. You don't know how to just chill. You're always talking. But the other thing is that, okay, you guys have been together for whatever amount of time and you guys are taking certain steps. And now you keep calling the title, right? You keep, oh, well, because you're my man and because, well, how come I can't go? How come you gotta go with your boys? You're a married man now. You're a husband now. Husbands don't hang out with their friends. Okay, whenever you start stifling him, telling him what he can and cannot do, you're being like a mom. Okay, first of all, you're being like a little helicopter. Nobody likes that. And that is again what? Annoying. You're being annoying. Go find something to do. Learn how to knit. If your man is going out and he's spending some time with his friends or he's doing something, he's handling business elsewhere, it's attractive of you as a woman to find something to do. Okay, babe, you gonna go? Okay, what time are you gonna be back? Okay, cool. Just let me know you're safe. Okay, bye. If you don't want him to go, if you're gonna miss him, plan something for when he's coming back. Okay. And that doesn't mean for you to go sit and I have to clarify this because again, I know female nature because obviously I'm a woman. That doesn't mean plan something for when he comes back. And that means that you're going to go and say, it's 2 o'clock. You told me you were going to be back at 2 o'clock. I planned this whole thing for you and da 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 da. Now it's 3:30. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as you patiently wait watching something. Okay, watching something, doing whatever you got to do, whatever it is. Focus on the time whenever he is available for you. Nobody wants somebody who is just standing there. And this is another annoying thing, okay? Nobody likes when somebody is just standing still and is like, here I am, all of me. Here you go, babe. Not attractive. And I have to say these things because I know women who will literally neglect, right? Like leaving to go get their hair done, leaving to go get their nails done. Like I'm just using these things for examples, leave neglecting to see their parents or to do anything because I just love this man so much. I want to spend every second that I have available around this man. And this man is like, I just please go. I really wish you would go. You sure nobody else called you? Because I could really use a break. I'm really hoping that you find somewhere to go. It's clingy. It's annoying. It's overbearing. It's stressful. Like, I can't breathe without her saying something. And then another annoying thing is women who constantly turn on the waterworks. So it's like, on the one end, we have women who are disrespectful, who are constantly screaming, emasculating, got an attitude, blah, 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 blah. And it's like with these women, you're like, can you have like more balance? Can you actually just show your emotions and not be so aggressive? And then you have these women who are like overly emotional, overly crying. So it's like these men are like, okay, where's my balance? Because on this hand, I'm glad she's not cussing me out, but every second she's crying about something. And then when she's crying, we have to have a whole to do about it. And I have to just scrap all of my plans that I have because I have to cater to you. But then it's really kind of like a manipulation tactic that you're using to make me stay with you because you're really crying for no reason. Okay. And I have to read this comment. I have to read this comment. It says, he's talking about his girl and he says she will stand in the middle of the floor like, "What do you want to do today?" And he's like, I'm doing it. I'm chilling." He's like, "This is what I'm doing." "Babe, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "You're standing in front of the TV." You're standing right in front of the TV. So if you could just move a little to the right, then we'll be good to go. And again, this does not mean that all of your hearts are in the wrong place. This does not mean that you are not trying your best elsewhere. This does not mean that you are not putting your best foot forward. However, just because you're not screaming, just because you're not yelling, that's not the only thing that it takes. Because some women feel like they're so much in their feminine nature. They're very feminine. I'm expressing myself. I'm emotional because I'm a woman. I have the right to express my emotions. Nothing is good in excess. Nothing. Nothing at all is good in excess. Everything in moderation. Okay, you need balance. Because in the same token that a man doesn't want you talking to him like he's a child, he doesn't want to feel like he's with a child. It's sexy, it's sexy when you can show your emotions, you can talk and all that kind of stuff, but it's also very, very sexy as a woman who's being a woman who's not childlike at all in nature. Very mature, very calculated, very self-aware. It's attractive. Very attractive. It's not attractive when you ning 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 ning. And I have to say this one more thing before I bring all the people in the back up on the screen. I'm bringing everybody up at one time because I definitely want to hear everybody's conversation. The last thing is when you're with your man in public and I don't know, maybe you feel a little insecure, maybe you don't feel like you're the hottest person that day, whatever it is. And you notice a beautiful woman, a hot girl, whatever you want to call it. And he also notices that same person and you see him noticing her, which everybody noticed her, okay? Because she has the glow, she has the aura, she's walking and she's, you know, strong in her femininity, maybe she just look good, whatever it is. Okay? And you know what you do? "Babe, kiss me." "Babe, hold my hand." Annoying. Annoying. Because he already knows why you're doing that. He's already very much aware as to why you did all that action. He's not confused. He knows you're trying to mark your territory out in the street, and it makes you just look sad. Okay? I'm just being honest, guys. It makes you look sad. It makes you look insecure. And whatever it is about you that made you have to do that in front of that girl, how men's minds work is that what he's now going to do is look at that girl. Because if you're insecure for her, what does she have that you don't have? Let me go ahead and look now. Let me re-examine this entire situation and see what's really good, because maybe she's the better deal. If you're insecure and I didn't even notice her, I just glanced and I saw somebody, but now you acting funny. Now I got to look and see why you acting funny. Maybe I'm the one that's tripping over here, standing over here with you. Maybe I need to go stand over there with her. To keep it real. To keep it really real. A lot of women think that they can like outsmart men, and they think that men are so unaware. Like they think that they're walking through the store and he did not see her looking at this girl, or the girl looking at him, and she never saw what was going on, and she just is telling him to give her a kiss because she just wants to show him her affection in the middle of the grocery store. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He's like, you were just arguing with me about which card I should pick, and now you trying to hurry up and give me a kiss because you want to show me your affection all of a sudden as soon as this one random person walks by. Yeah, okay. Sure. Not falling for it. It's annoying. It's whack. A man doesn't want to feel like he's bound to a relationship. Once you start with the my man, who's that calling? Where you going? I want to go. What you doing? What's this? What's all of that? As soon as you start doing all those things, just expect your man to start cheating. Bottom line. Okay? And if he don't cheat, he going to think about it. He going to go sit somewhere and think about it. Or he going to go scroll on Instagram and mentally do it. Because he don't want to feel like that. He don't want to feel whack, like he's just bound to this one person who's got him chained, who sometimes, don't even come to bed looking good, acting insecure, even if you look good. Okay? That ownership thing, nah. Genuinely not a good look. And I can literally go way deeper in this conversation, but I do want to bring up the callers at this point. I'm sure that this conversation is going to continue to evolve. So Kirk, Kashawn, Tech, Resident, I'm going to bring you guys all up so that we can go dive a little bit deeper in this conversation. And again, I'm a woman talking to my fellow women because I feel like there's a lot of different aspects of these conversations that we are missing, okay, when it comes to talking about this relationship talk. Because I can tell you certain things all day long, but I'm trying to tell you the intricate details. Because one, we got to get your attitude right? So you can even get into a relationship. And then once you do get into one, now we got to tell you the things that's going to happen after that whole niceness wears off. Because what's going to happen after all the sweet time wear off and you guys are all, time together and all this kind of stuff, then what happens? Then what you going to do? How you going to keep it if you don't know how? Okay. So I think I heard Tech. I don't know if it was you, Tech, or not, but I or Kashawn, but I heard yeah, it's you, Tech. I heard the volume from the live stream is echoing back. If you could just turn your volume down.
Okay. That's cool?
That's perfect.
Hold up.
Well, first of all, welcome, because I've never seen you up here before.
Let's see.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
All right. How's that?
It's perfect.
All right, cool. How you doing?
I'm good. Welcome up here. I never seen you up here.
Yeah. This is my first time, so I'm a bit nervous. But I just wanna say, keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job, and I just want to give you your flowers. First and foremost. But yeah, this topic is very interesting. I've been with my wife. Well, me and my wife been together for 4 years. We
Mm-hmm.
dated for 20, so I can relate to the annoying part. Um,
Mm.
and from my experience, us men, you have to see. We will only tolerate it, you know, if you allow it. So the most important thing as a man, what you have to do once they start being annoying, you have to shut it down immediately. So if they're nagging, if they're talking to you like a little kid, you gotta be direct and say, listen, I'm not a little kid, I'm a grown man. So if it's an issue, then let's talk about it like adults. But you're not gonna talk to me like a child. Or this is gonna go left really quick, you know. But if you don't do it early, they're gonna keep doing that, you know. And yeah, and I had experiences where I had to talk to my wife like that. Like, listen, you're not gonna talk to me any old kind of way. Well, before we got married, you're not gonna talk to me any old kind of way. You know, you're gonna talk to me like an adult. I think the problem is a lot of times women don't know how. Not all women, but women that fall in this category, they don't know how to. I don't think they ever experienced a serious relationship, so they don't know how to, deal with the serious relationship. They just going off the fly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of times, you just have to put your foot down, and that what you said earlier, as far as like if you going to the gas station or going to the store and stuff like that, and they like, oh, I want to go too. I'll be like, why? What for? Like, it's nothing out there for you. I'm going to get some gas and I'm coming back. Like, you have to put out the fires. But if it's something that, like, if it keeps going on, I would let them know, like, listen, like, I don't know if you got some insecurity issues, because I'm like direct, I'm blunt. I'll be honest with that person. I don't know if you got some insecurity issues, or, I don't know, like, if you had a bad relationship before me, but I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? You're showing by you're saying, oh, I'm a good woman or this, that, and the third, but your actions tell a whole different thing about you. And I'm like, I'm not liking that. And if this goes on, I don't think we're gonna last. So if you see me going out with my guys, or if I'm going to play basketball, it's important to try to self-reflect and see, like, how can I be a better me, instead of, oh, I want to tag along all the time. I think that's another problem. A lot of people don't do a lot of self-reflection. Sorry about that. People
It's
don't know
okay.
how to do a lot of self-reflection to better the relationship. They're just stuck in their ways. And if you're stuck in your ways, you're gonna get the same results. And if you leave this person, you're gonna do this to the next person, the next person, the next person. And then, you know, when you're, talking to somebody, a lot of times they want to paint this picture like it was them, it wasn't me. No, it was you. It was you. It was your actions that destroyed the relationship. You nagging. You're not putting in the effort. You're not trying to better yourself as a wife or a girlfriend. And these are the end results, time and time and time again. So it's important to do some self-reflection. It's important to improve. Improve. To be a better wife, a better girlfriend. And if you don't know how, it doesn't hurt to confide in your man and be like, babe, be honest about your flaws and be like, you know what, I do need to, probably you may have to get some counseling. I have to find a way to try to be a better wife or a better girlfriend, because I don't want to lose you. I want you in my life, but there's some flaws about me. A lot of women won't admit that. A lot of women won't admit that. But
Mm-mm.
they think they always try to flip it and say, "Oh, you're the problem." No, you're the problem. But you have to admit that, and you gotta want to change that. So yeah, that's all I gotta really say. I don't want to, hog up the floor or anything. I mean, anybody else want to chime in and give their point of view, or do they have any experience, something similar to what I went through?
For sure. I'm gonna put you on mute.
Okay.
Just because I hear the echo, but when you want to say something, whatever, I think you can just hit the mute button and unmute yourself. But that's so true. I mean, one of the biggest issues I feel like with women that we see in relationships, period, is the lack of self-awareness. I think that's just bottom. I think if every man could just stand on a soapbox and put one thing, it would definitely be like that accountability slash self-awareness. Like a lot of women are just are just not self-aware, right? They don't know their faults. um they're the same women that will walk up to you and be like, babe, does this look good? And it looks horrible, right? It looks awful. And they want you to lie to them and tell them that it looks good because they don't even like to be shown themselves. So they don't even want to be aware of themselves. So I think what you said there is completely key. And again, another thing that you said that is so key is whenever you're in a relationship with somebody, as a man, you are the director, right? If we want to talk about a train, I heard somebody in the comment section say something about a train. You are like the conductor. Okay, so bottom line, the relationship sways and moves based off of you, based off of the way that you maneuver. Your girl is going to respond based off of the way that you are appointing the conversation to her, based off of the things that you were telling her to do. You can't mold a woman or guide a woman or lead a woman if you can't look at that same woman and tell her enough is enough, or no, you can't do that, or no, don't talk to me like that. No, you don't have to go to the gas station. No, you don't have to go. I see what you're trying to do when you're trying to kiss me in market territory. I don't like that. That's not cute. I'm very aware. Thank you so much, Israelite Israel, for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate all of the support. Thank you so much. Kirk, I know you've been sitting on ready to jump in on this conversation. I'm gonna turn my screen off, but I can hear everything that you're saying. I genuinely want to hear what you have to say. I just have to run and do something really quick.
What's going on, everybody? Good night, Resident, man. What's up, man? Good night, Tech, Kishan. Good night to Rivah and Rivah Gang, everybody, man. I just think that as a woman evolve, man, or as a woman mature, not only in her age, but in her hormones and in her ability to just understand what's going on around her. I just think that certain things should just automatically just go away, because I don't believe that. I don't know why women still stuck in you're 40 and you're still doing certain things. You're 30, there's an age bracket where as you move along in life, you should just certain things just automatically fall off. And so I think that when it comes on to relationship, yeah, you might be annoying to your boyfriend and your high school buddies and all those guys, but when you get in a relationship and you start to get married with a man and having kids and buying house and cars and changing jobs, and you get what I'm saying, Resident? It's like life is maturing around us, but you're not maturing. You get what I'm saying? Life is evolving. We're making move, but you're stuck in some other. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like we're you ever see like when you were kids, your dad would take you in the car, but then the fun part about driving a car is looking through the back glass, like just turn and look. You get what I'm saying? Rather than just looking exactly where you're going. It's like people like to look and they don't want to face the reality of looking front way, but they want to focus on the after effect. You get what I'm saying? So I think women like to get under the skin of men, not to see the future, but just to look at the back glass. You know what I mean? You turn around and look, and you get what I'm saying, and get under your skin. Cause think about it. That's what they do. You get what I'm saying? They get they they don't look ahead and say, well, and I know I was annoying 2 years ago, babe, and now we enter into this new venture. I mean, let's work together rather than they just keep looking in the rearview mirror and just being annoying about everything.
I think the issue is that a lot of women, especially women today, they're trying to get men to understand women more from their perspective.
Right.
The funny thing about that is that they're creating a lot of the men that they want, but those men are not what they want. Um, as a person like me, I've come up here and I've said all the typical, you know, like guy. Like I have been raised by women, I've been influenced by women. So like a lot of the things that I grew up, like if you want to say blue pill and stuff like that, that's the type of guy that I ended up being.
Hold on 1 second, resident. I just want to say something based off of what Kirk said. Guys, I'm sorry, okay, because I had my stuff on the stove and I had to check on it. Okay, I just got to be really transparent with you guys so you guys don't be like, "Where's Riva?" I can hear, but my stuff was on the stove and I had to go check it. Anyway, what you said is so key though, Kirk. And I could not let the conversation just move on and not highlight what you just said. When you say the whole life has matured around us and you're not maturing, that is like next level, because I don't think that women realize how men view the actions that they do, right? So you coming on here, you've been married for how long?
9 years. This year gonna be 10.
Okay, so you've been married for a while. So you exactly, right? So you're married to somebody. So I think that women, maybe not necessarily your wife, but maybe in other situations that you were in where you did experience that, it's like men are looking at you like, look at this young girl. Like if you're being annoying over petty things, if you're being annoying the fact that you can't see me, you told me you wanted to live in this big old house. How can you see me all the time if I have to go to work? Like I can't fulfill your every desire, your immature needs, your oh babe, but that's not fair. You crying all the time. I can't deal with that. How if you can't deal with that over me going to work, how are you going to maneuver when, like you're saying, we have multiple businesses? We have a huge house to take care of. We have more bills now to take care of because every business that we're putting money into is essentially going to give us another kind of bill. So how are you going to maneuver in these stages of life? Is it if in the calm stage you're being so annoying and have something to say about everything? So I just wanted to highlight that before resident continued. I couldn't hear that and not come back and say something. So sorry, go ahead, resident.
All right. One, Kurt, I wasn't gonna put down anything that you said, believe me, because there's a lot of things that I've found out throughout a lot of my, self-awareness and research and things like that, trying to figure out how my marriage failed. That trying to understand things from a women's perspective just doesn't work. It wasn't meant to. And I'm starting to see that in a lot of things, like a lot of ways now, because the more you try to understand from a woman's perspective is the more feminine you become, and the less power you tend to like emanate off of yourself, and like no one wants to respect that. You just become like the annoying person. So when River was talking about like how women, they you know they kind of want to get a guy to uh feel what they're feeling, you know like I've been there. Like I can say like, all right, fine, you know what, babe, we haven't spent time in once in a while, let's do something special just to bring the relationship up or whatever. But the thing is, the more I kept on trying to do that, the more I kept trying to push into that, is the more annoying I became. The thing that would have attracted her more is if I would have just been like, okay, whatever, gone and done my own thing, get her to want to grab the attention because um as I figured out more, um women, they tend to go based off of the feeling that they get from being with somebody. It doesn't matter if it's like toxic or if it's something that is exciting or whatever. It just has to be something that keeps them on a high, and they want to keep on maintaining that high, you know?
Right.
So think of it this way, like like you ever had something that you tried to save up for, and you
Right.
save up
Right.
for and save up for and save for it, and
Right.
then finally when you get it and it's great, but then after you get it, it's like the high is gone. Now you want something else, like you want to go for the next
Right.
thing.
Right.
that that's how their mind works. It's like they have to constantly be after that chase. It's like you have to keep them to a point where they're constantly just getting to what they want, but then they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I,
that's what keeps them in a relationship.
I, I, I think, I'm gonna speak on that part that you just said,
Hmm.
because, so being with my wife for over the years that I've been with my wife, I give my wife, the privilege of being a part of my success, right? Um, but part of that privilege is, and when I say privilege, I'm talking about um getting married to her, because that's a privilege that women get. I
Hmm.
mean, women think that they're entitled to that, but it's a privilege, right? Um, and so when I get into that space where I decided that I'm gonna make that move, um, she already knew what the groundwork that I'm going to be doing to get to my peak of the career that I was going into. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so what I find, um, is a lot of guys would try to like overdo it with their relationship, like what you said.
Hmm.
And so I don't think nothing is necessarily wrong with it 100%. I just think that is like, to me, woman is like tuning a car. You get what I'm saying? If you give too much of this, it blow, and if you give less, you got to find that sweet spot. You get what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
you can't take it to the racetrack every day. Like some guys, like we're talking, but sometimes you got to give a woman 2 minutes. Stop trying to be on top of her for the whole night.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And
Oh
so
yeah, I
that's
believe
the
you. I
type of,
know.
that's what you're trying to say. Like every time you're trying to match that high,
Hmm.
you're always going to bottom out.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
You
Like
get what I'm
you
saying?
don't. The thing is, you can't match the high from giving them what they want,
Right.
or giving them the stuff. Like it's like you have to constantly be like, okay, you have to maintain your frame and constantly be kind of like dangling what they want in front of them, and that's what it is.
Well,
Like
well,
it's
I wouldn't say danga. I wouldn't say danga because remember, if this is a person you're in a relationship with, you want to treat them like your spouse or
of
like your
course.
girlfriend. You get what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that if if it's okay, okay, let's put it this way. Say you say you're married before, right?
Yeah.
And you look back at your relationship and you probably reminisce and say, man, you probably blame yourself at times, right?
Yeah, I did.
And then you look and say that maybe if you had go through the deal that she want with buying this or that, you probably would have been together, right?
No, the problem is I did that.
But
That's
okay,
the
you
thing.
did that. So
Like,
now if you do that, what you're doing is that you're offsetting your relationship.
mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
the
Because
thing, the
now
thing,
you let the scale tip in more to her
yeah,
rather than tipping to us.
exactly. And
You
that's the
get what I'm
problem.
saying?
That's why I say you constantly have to maintain your frame, your boundaries, and keep her at this. constant high of the chase, and that's what it is. Like women want to have that where they see that they're with a strong man that they can't break. You know, like it's like if they
Right,
break
right.
that guy and they achieve that goal, then that man is no longer anything to them. You
But
know, so then they can just move on to the next guy that they
I
have to
have
break
to I
and
have
try to
to I
break.
have to tip in
Yeah.
as a woman. I have to tip in.
here we go with trouble with Rivah.
Okay. So this is the part. When a man is in a relationship with a woman, okay, we're going to use mature minds, as Kirk was just saying. It doesn't mean that you're going to be just playing this game with your wife, right? Like with the mother of your kids, and like act like you don't like her, or act like you don't want to be with her, or you're not going to sometimes she set the tone, or she say, "Hey babe, let's go here for dinner," and you're going to be like, "Oh no, I'm not going that way for dinner because I'm the man." That's like extremities, right? You're not going to play games with a person that's extremely compatible to you, respectful of you, honors you, is a part of like the household growth as a whole. No, that's a whole different thing. However, when a woman is in a relationship, Kirk said it key. He knows what's good. He knows the female nature. So in knowing female nature, he knows when his wife is talking to him when, okay, I should listen right now because I can see that she's, tapped in, or she's in tune with what's going on, and that actually looks like a really good idea. Or you know what? I know not to listen to her right now because she's in her feelings and she just being emotional, or whatever it is, because of female nature. No one to hold him, no one to fold him. But the only way that you can know that, one, I think, is based off of experience, life experiences, and two, well, I won't say life experience. I think experience with different women. And two, I think that the reason why you know that is because you know your value as a man. We always talk about high value man. It's not just about finance. It's not only about finance. And I'm gonna go a step further to say, and this is not completely fact or anything like that, but I think that a lot of men who are foreign have don't have certain issues with women because they have this innate self-value system where their mom put them first, their grandma put them first. You know what I'm saying? Like, even I can use it for an example for my family. Like, even the young men in my family, like the way that they're treated by the women in my family, it's like it gives them this kind of thing. Like, yeah, that's how a woman is supposed to treat me. So if they embark on a woman who treats them a little bit differently, they're already known. They're already like ready to be like, I don't want to hear this, or I don't want to deal with this. I think when you are raised by women, in the sense of women who have maybe been scorned by men or hurt by men, they try to raise you to be this guy that they could never get into a relationship with outside because he doesn't exist. Oh, my feelings. Oh no, you have to be a nice guy. Don't be that kind of guy. Oh no, don't be so rough. Don't be so tough. Don't be so mean. No, I feel like this, so you should do what I feel. No. No. It doesn't work like that. And a lot of guys who do let their women lead, if they want to be 100% happy, they're not. I mean, if they want to be 100% honest, they're not happy because they don't feel like they're fulfilling their space and their duties as a man. I don't know any other way to say it besides saying it like this, but like, you have balls for a reason. You have to lead with that. Like,
well,
I'm the
well,
one. Yes,
well,
go ahead.
well. So you said something just now, which is why I've dated American women before,
Mm-hmm.
and I've dated, of course, I'm from Jamaica, so with dating American women, there's this spoiledness about them where it's this spoiled entitlement, all about me.
Mm.
It's this, and the whole shebang. And man from other culture, we pay key attention to certain. Okay, I'm gonna use it in a different terms that most people can relate to.
Okay.
When a man buy a car that he really likes, first thing we do is put the rims. We go get tints. We tint the whole glass. We put sound system, the whole shebang, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is how man view um their whole entire life. We want to get what we want to get, and we want to tailor make it to make it fit and work for us. That's gonna make us happy. Okay, let's take a woman. And I always said this to my wife. We laugh about it. When River go to the mall tomorrow, Kishan, resident, when she buy a leggings, that leggings doesn't have her shape in it. You get what I'm saying? The moment she put on that leggings, that's when that leggings start to take shape.
Right.
And so with American women, they don't make their relationship take shape to tailor make to the man that they're dating. You get what I'm saying? So they're putting on the leggings, and the leggings is taking the shape to show oh they're looking nice. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I have the car over here that looks nice, but then when I'm ready to take you out, it's all about where you want to go, not where us want to go.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
driving my nice car, you looking all good, but then we in the car arguing about where we're gonna go for date. You get what I'm saying? And so if you date a woman outside of this country, they don't care. They're just excited to go out.
Right.
They'll argue, but resident, you said on the phone we were going to go to Chick-fil-A. What happened? What changed your mind? I already told my family I'm going to go there. And that's where the annoyingness start to pops up. Well, they say it's going to be 50 minutes before we get in at the restaurant. Well, I already said I was going to go there. That's my plan. Rather than a Caribbean woman, she'd be like, I don't care. We can go buy some ice cream and we can eat and chill and just talk.
I just
I
want to be
know
with my
you.
man.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so this is where the annoying thing chips in the culture of American women, where it's and they feed on that. You
So
get what I'm saying?
I want to take this a step further, because I already know the people who catch this replay are gonna be like, what did you just say about American women?
Oh
But
yeah.
I want to take this conversation further, because, and I feel like I have the right to talk, okay? Because I'm American. I'm technically American, but I'm not. My mom is
First
Jamaican, but my
generation.
dad is not Jamaican. Okay, he is an American man.
Well, I'm a full blown
I was
Jamaican.
right. I was only raised with my mom though, so I don't think that
Right.
counts. But I'm just
Right.
using that so nobody can't come for me. Okay, I could talk. Okay, but why do you think it is? Why do you think that the women from we're going to use our country, right? Why do you think the women from Jamaica, compared to the like American women that you've dated, why do you think there's that difference?
Well, first it's a culture difference. Women back home are more they're more temperament. They have less bitterness towards man, or for a better term, a resentment. American women, they have a lot of scars. They have a lot of trust issue. If you were supposed to try to even genuinely take care of do something nice for American women, you would still be looked at as you just another guy. You know different from another guy out here. And so with the different culture, and this is even in the Spanish community also. Spanish women, they don't have the scars. They're more willing to be you can reason with them more. American women will take you to court and just lie and drag you to prison.
But I'm intrigued, because okay, what I always say is that with Latin women, it's in everything that they do that the man is the leader, even to the way that they dance.
Mm-hmm.
right? When if you see two people doing salsa, merengue, bachata, whatever, she has to be in line with him, otherwise they both gonna look crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And honestly, she's gonna look more crazy than he is because everybody knows that the man in the dancing is the leader.
Right.
So she has to follow his temperament, right? With our women, Jamaican women, I'm just gonna say Caribbean women, Haitian women, whatever. I can only speak of Jamaican women because I could speak of other cultures to be honest, but I'm just gonna use my family for an example. I feel like we still have the same kind of situations though. It's not like, every Jamaican woman knows her father or has a relationship with her father. It's not like, you know, everybody's raised in two-parent households, but
Right.
somehow in our culture, the men still have a superiority. Why do you think that is?
Like I said, it goes back to, remember we talk about this all the time. We says that character, right? If you want to have a good relationship, look at a woman character. There are signs in a person and their character, because if you're going to date a woman today, I'm telling you, there's going to be some things that's going to be popped up. You get what I'm saying? And in the culture that we're from, um, we are more. It's better for us to reason with our woman. We can come to the negotiation table with our woman and have a better result versus trying to negotiate. An American woman will know, like her family will warn her and said, just let it go, and she won't. But a Jamaican woman, they'll say, let it go, and she'll be like, you know what? I'll cut my loss. You get what I'm saying? It's like this ego, this
Ego.
power trip. Well, I'm gonna show him who's the boss, and I'm gonna show him who's in control, and he ain't gonna talk. A matter of fact, um, I watched a news clip the other day on another YouTube channel where this young lady called her boyfriend and he come and shot the Jamaican guy and kill him up there in Bronx, New York. So your woman let you shoot a next guy, and then you're gonna go to prison, and then Kishan gonna date her. You don't find Jamaican men make that type of stupid move. You get what I'm saying? But it's like a power trip. You can tell, like, you get what I'm saying? It's like it's something about
They just can't let it
this
go.
ego. They can't let it go. Like, we'll curse you out and just leave it. I curse guys out all the time. I got middle finger thrown at me. I drive a truck. I can just press on my brake and you'll be done. But I know when to let it go. But you go against, I see 53 footers on the highway. Two white guys going at it. None of them not giving up. Swinging the truck, trying to kill each other. Me,
Okay.
I would just slow down and just leave. So it's a culture.
Based off of your rhetoric, okay, and what you're saying about the culture, you use that perfect example of the two guys in the truck. So do you think that the biggest, because we're trying to, for those who are just tuning in, who are not who are not realizing where this conversation is going and trying to figure out what we're talking about, listen, I just want to break it down really quick, okay? We're talking about being annoying, right? And the reason why I brought up this topic is because, and for Edward too, who's just joining, I don't know if you're watching the whole time, so I'm trying to catch you up as well.
Thank you.
A lot of women think being disrespectful, being rude, being nasty to your man is the only thing that can turn your man off, right? The only thing that's going to make him want to walk away, possibly think about going somewhere else. But there's actually a completely different aspect. We have women who are more emotional, sensitive. Maybe they're really feminine, but they're really damn annoying. Okay. Their tone of voice, the way they talk, the way that they feel like they're communicating with you, but they're really talking at you, talking down to you like a child. Or, maybe they want to go with you every single time that you're going somewhere just because, like, oh, baby, I'm going to miss you. You're annoying as hell. Go sit down. Right. Okay. So now we got into the aspect of, 1 second, resident. Now we got into that, like he's in school. Now we got into the aspect of, okay, we're talking about relationships, and we even go to the fact that we went to, I don't know how we got to Caribbean people, but that people in the Caribbean have the ability to hold their men at a very high regard, regardless of whatever it is. And Kirk made a very good point. He said that he feels that the difference between foreign women, because we always hear these men now talking about going overseas, right? And talking about they're going to go find a wife overseas. They need to buy a passport. And Kirk made a very good point. He said that it's the ego of the American women. And he even went further and said it's the ego of the American people overall. Now, my thought process, based off of what you just said, Kirk, and I'm going to let you explain because I know you had something to say as well, is it possible that the reason why the people here have such that big ego is because in other countries, in foreign countries, there is certain repercussions for your actions if you act out. And so innately, it makes you kind of think like, let me think this whole situation all the way through before I do it. Do you think that might be the reason why? Because a lot of people can just act out here and like, nothing happened. A woman can just scream at a man, go all in his face, and then call the police and say, it's him, take him. And then.
Yeah, because over here, there's too much privilege given out to the citizen. You get what I'm saying? Even take, for instance, the Constitution. It's been used in the wrong way. Somebody will come on your show and they'll disrespect you and then say that they're talking in the freedom of expression.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Well, Edward, I don't have to like what Edward said, bro. It's freedom of expression. No, you disrespected Edward because you just tell him that he was late. You get what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with the Constitution.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Or you talking to Edward before you talk to Kirk or Kishon. You get what I'm saying? So, but the people here and the culture here, people are spoiled. And so back home, you would get checked by multiple different people because of the type of person you are. You get what I'm saying? People, and go back to what my man resident was saying. I know the exact type of relationship he's talking about because my good friend of 18 years just ended the same relationship. Just ended. Every single time he tried to make a decision that's going to make the marriage go in a better direction, his wife stepped in. You get what I'm saying? And it just threw everything off. And this guy was doing everything. And now he's single.
Now he don't know how to act.
He's
right?
like,
don't know how to act.
You get what I'm saying? But what I would say to guys like Resident, man, just if you don't have to pick the second time, just be careful when you pick this. Just be careful because some of these ladies out here, you're not going to get anywhere with them, and the social media thing is damaged a lot of women. I've seen it. It's. I mean, my wife doesn't have Facebook. She watched TikTok when she's cooking. You get what I'm saying?
Me too.
It's a different culture. So and we've been together for 14 years. We've been married to 9 years, 2 kids, and you try to talk to some of these girls now, you won't last that long with them. Too many boss chicks.
Too many boss chicks.
You get what I'm saying?
Comment really quick from Luke Hazley. So when we were talking about the dancing, she was saying that because she's Latina, so she's saying if her family ever saw her dancing like with a guy and they were struggling, her mom will call her out and probably be like, "You're not letting him lead. You're not letting him guide you. You look like a fool." You know what I'm saying? So that's a really, I don't know.
But you know who's
different.
You know who's gonna have another shocking event to tell us about American women?
Who?
Mr. Super.
We know Edward. Edward always got a story. Edward be like, let me tell you about this one time when I went on vacation. We're like, what?
Right.
Oh man.
I can't wait till Edward chips in, man.
Yeah. Dr. Nine said not all Americans though, for sure. Yeah.
No, we're not talking
definitely,
about all Americans, but
definitely not all Americans. I
yeah,
want to
we're
say
not,
that
you
disclaimer.
know, and sometimes, guys, we don't have to say we're talking to particular people. The conversation itself state what we're talking about. You get what I'm saying?
but sometimes we have to put a disclaimer because sometimes, you know,
no.
my comment section, I will say I'm not talking about all these people, and they'll be like, "Well, what about these people, Rivah?" I'm like, "Okay,
Right.
And I wanted to read this comment from Real Talk with Mimsy Limbs. It says the frequencies and tone that we speak with all play a part in the errors men experience in their brains when women speak.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what I was saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Tone of voice.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that pitch goes, just know he can't hear you.
That's
okay.
why your
Whenever
parents
you
always
start
say,
to nagging,
oh,
he hears wah 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 wah. That's all he hears. And I'm glad that she as a woman is coming on here to support that conversation as well, because as women I feel like we already know, but we just do things that are comfortable because we are comforted so much by the people around us, right? You can nag like that or whine when you're a young girl and your parents will say, "Oh, because she's a girl." And then when a guy does it, they'll be like, "Stop whining. You're not a girl." But the girl should stop whining too. Like my mom wasn't like that. My mom was like, "That's annoying." You know, I'm like a little kid, like, "Oh my god, mommy." Blah, blah, blah. She's like, "That's annoying. Stop. Like, stop whining. I can't take it." My mom had 3 girls. So she's like, "I can't take the whine in my ears. Okay. You guys are gonna mad me in here." so the tone is very important. And I think that women would really be surprised how much more effective their communication is with their man when they watch their tone. And tone means a lot of things. Tone is how it's coming across and the actual tone of how they speak. If you say, you know, "But babe, you never buy me flowers," you know, which is annoying. The statement alone is annoying. Okay. The tone is saying, "This is what you don't do, and I'm complaining about what you don't do." So, you know, or if you say, "You know, babe, I would like some flowers. Can you buy me some?" He's going to be like, "Oh, yeah, let me go get the flower." You know, like, because he can interpret that it's not coming from a place of disrespect, and it's also not coming from a place of harm. Because once a man hears that place of harm coming in, now that once he feels like he has to be on the defense, conversation's over. Because most men don't want to deal with it. So they just either tune you out, or when they respond, it's going to be a response that you don't like, and now you're going to go back and forth, and it's going to be this whole thing. No, you have to watch your tone. Of course, Edward. Okay, now that we caught you up, and of course, Uncle Loke has joined the chat as well. Thank you so much for joining. I'm trying to make it where everybody can kind of speak. And for those who don't know, my stuff is on the stove. Okay, so sometimes I will pop out and pop back in, but I can hear everything that's going on. So please, Edward, first of all, thank you for joining us again. I haven't seen you.
Thank you.
In a couple streams, but I definitely want to hear your opinion. Okay.
Thank you, Rivah. Kirk. Thank you, Kirk. Kirk, I always learn a lot. Uncle Loke, Sean, resident. All right, so let's see. What do I have to say about this one? Let's see. Well, number one, while you were talking, yes, I have, I've been around the world. I've seen a lot of girls, and as far as American, I had to realize, some are just gone. I just had a dream today. Here it's 4:00 in the morning. I had a dream and it's funny. I had a dream exactly on this topic, and in the dream, I was just talking to the women. They were like 30, 40, and I said, "I'm single. Are you lonely? Are you lonely at home?" They say, "No, I'm not lonely. I'm good." So I think a lot of that pride and a lot of that ego will make it impossible for them to ever be happy. As sad as it is, the most pleasant, the most marriageable women that I've dated that have been from the U.S. have been Haitian or Jamaican, or I think one young lady was Jamaican and Cuban. So 100% what Kirk said, as far as respect, as far as just treating you like treating you like better than the dog that they have, acting like you got rights and can make decisions. So I think that's a big thing. As far as being annoying, like Rivah said, they know when they're being annoying, and it's all on what you tolerate. So I had to learn, like Resident, as far as, I've had some women are grimy, as far as, because to us, to them, we're like expendable almost. We're almost like tissue paper. They can always get another one. They feel like, until they can't anymore. What do I want to say? That's pretty much, I'm trying to think of some situations. You definitely made me think of situations where, as far as the entitlement goes, you're in college. I remember I went to college, and this girl called me over. This has happened before. Called me over at 2:00, 3:00 in the morning. Yeah, come over and give me a massage. You give him a massage. She's like, "What are you doing? What did you think this was? I just wanted a massage. Thank you. Good night." And then go off with the next dude. So it's like, and then I've had sisters in college who want to deal with me with their on the phone with their boyfriend, like pictures of the boyfriend all around. So it's an unfortunate situation where it's almost like, and I'm holding the phone, but it's like the man said in the comment, the vibration is off. The connection cannot connect because, for whatever reason. And what I can speak on is I grew up with a lot of women. I'm from the African American experience, and just the things that they heard, the decisions that their mothers made, the decisions that my mother made, and the pride of never admitting that they're wrong and just making an excuse for it and ducking and dodging will lead someone to, it's like somebody tells a lie and they're like too far in a lie. It's almost like you could do the Putin and I don't want to bring it up like that, but it's like, dude did so much that you can't go back. You can't be like sorry, or you it's too much now. Like it's there's no, you can't make up for it. So I think it's just I think people go too far. People are miseducated. As far as being annoying, I was messing with how can I say messing with? I was dealing with a young lady, and she broke it down to me in a few ways. One thing that I do, again, this is on a tangent, but one disarming thing that I do is I like to be honest and respectful. And even some of the most meanest women, sometimes when I see, it's hard for them they'll feel crazy coming at me a certain way because I don't get ticked off when they start barking, and they seem to calm down a little bit. But I started dealing with her, and she started making demands, or the way that she talked, like the way Rivah said, like the way you said, she said it like she just said something in a way that was just like, so it was just annoying. Like she was telling me what it was going to be, what it wasn't going to be, and what was going to happen. And as you said, men, like I didn't say anything, but I definitely took a note of that. And I definitely was like, I'm not going to deal with her anymore. And she also was like, why deal with, it's like, why deal with a good guy? And she would get up with me. I was like, why don't you get a guy who treats you? You said that's what your father always wanted, was for you. that was kind of like his dying wish for her to, you know, work it out and have a good life. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, "How would I do that? What I do to fly me here? I'm dealing with here who got this. I'm dealing with and she, all the dudes that she be using." And got, I said, oh, you know, I mean, it works out now, but I think it's also, and I'll kind of end it here. Um, I've been watching a few posts where, and I think River, you said it too. Um, you definitely said it. Men kind of view in general, um, long term. So I think Resident, when he's in a marriage, um, when Kirk is in a marriage, um, when I'm in a marriage relationship, Uncle Loke, we kind of had that vision. So we're kind of thinking like ahead, or we're thinking like, how can we, this decision might not even make sense right now, but it will make sense later on. But I think when people get in their feelings, men too, but in general, they're just like, they kind of see red and they've been taught to see red, let me, but the thing is, like when I see my Haitian sisters, my Jamaican sisters, Cuban sisters, other sisters from the Caribbean, there's a way to um, disagree or feel bad without getting crazy. And even if you do get crazy, um, they kind of seem like to have an understanding that um, the man is not a toy. He's not to be emasculated with. He's not to play with. He's not to, let me tell you about this Haitian young lady I used to know
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
She used to, the way that she would annoy me is she would just poke me, poke, 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 poke. It's friendly. The way other people would be to call me scum, to call me lower than this and that. And I had one girl, and I ended with this. This is my last story. I had a very a pretty lady who liked me, but she had no communication skills, just like you said. So her way of expressing that she had feelings for me was to argue with me, was to pick at me, was to in public. So, and it wasn't until later that I found out that, oh, she's on some high school thing. She's on some high school tip. That's the way that she communicates, and it's not effective after a certain age. So I think a lot of our sisters, they either lack the communication skills, or they don't want to use the communication skills, or they went too far with, I don't need this, I don't need that, you can't do this for me, and what will my friends think if you're doing that, if you're leading? So I think it's also a piece of that. But I'm just up here.
I want to say
Well,
something based off of what you said about you know, the young ladies that you had dealt with before in the past, and you were saying basically like the way that their nature is, and it triggered me to think about the reason you said like your Haitian, Jamaican sisters, all of us. The thing is that we're closer to how it
Mhm.
really is, right? Because I think of course, a lot of things got lost in translation through the boat stops. you know, sometimes it
Right.
was language. Sometimes it was
That's
language
a
that
good
got
way to
lost
put
in
it.
translation. Sometimes it
Mhm.
was like, certain things. But like, even if you look in the Caribbean, for example, like you can look at a Puerto Rican who's technically an American, right? Which is that makes us, technically, you can look at a Puerto Rican, a Dominican, a Jamaican, and a Haitian, and we're all gonna cook rice and beans with some chicken and maybe some fried plantain, right? So we're all making the same thing, but all of our ingredients that we're going to use, in Jamaica, we're going to use thyme. In Dominican Republic, they're going to use cilantro, right? But we're going to make the same stew chicken and rice and peas, but it's going to taste completely different. So, and I think when you follow that trail all the way to, and of course, I know, okay, before anybody says, I'm going to say this again. I know for a fact that there were people who were African who were already in America. Okay, I'm very well aware of that. Before slave trade, just want to let everybody know that your girl got it. Okay, I know what I'm talking about. But follow that down to like maybe like red beans and rice of like New Orleans with like their chicken and their gumbo, which is still like paella in other places. You know what I'm saying? But I think that when
Mm-hmm.
you look at people who are from the Caribbean, we're so closer to the original culture and understanding the original roles in place that help a family thrive because we've been through things, right? So because we know like, okay, I'm here on this panel with you guys. There's nothing in my mind that tells me I'm stronger than any one of you. Okay? Like there's nothing in my mind that is innately making me feel like I can combat you and possibly win a war with you guys because I'm very well aware of the role of a man, right? And that it's different than the role that I can serve. If somebody comes up and we're fighting a war based off of the panel, I don't need to strap up and attempt to fight the war with you guys. You guys got it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go sit over here and make sure that I got little bandages, maybe a little snack, make a little sandwich just in case, you guys need some strength for the war. And I'm gonna play my role over here. Whereas when we see the people who are from America, the American women, again, this is not all because we have a lot of traditional women who are American who have the same value system, but we're going to talk about the majority. Okay, the majority is like they have a very different mindset. They
Right.
feel if you guys are going to war, me too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to war right along with you guys. No, I'm not making no sandwich. Tell resident make a sandwich. I don't need to do that. Like they just have that mentality of being equal. And nobody said it better than Sister Shahrazad Ali. She's like, listen, a lot of our women got all developed into something that had nothing to do with us. While I don't know any other way to say it, but while white women were fighting to be equal to their men, our men were not equal to anybody. We weren't even considered real people over here. So while we have our women getting into this feminism and all that kind of stuff, changing their mindsets, your man is not even valued. So how are you trying to be equal to the white man when you can't even be, your man is not even equal to him? And that's how we've gotten to this whole narrative of women being, they say that the black woman is the least protected. I think it's really the opposite. I think the black man is the least protected. I think the black woman will have, because she's a woman, because she can do bad all by herself, there's always going to be somebody to kind of cast that net and catch her, and this is the privileges that Kirk was saying. This is one of the privileges of being from the West. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have so many people there to catch you, but it's actually hindering a lot of our women from knowing their role in their spaces in relationships. So
Right.
when you said
Can I
that,
say
it just
something
took
to
me
that?
on a tangent, of course. And Kirk, I know you want to say something as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Edward.
Thank you. And Kirk, I've been looking for your YouTube page. I'm gonna ask you for the link in the chat. I've been looking.
I don't talk. I talk about trucks over there, though. I don't talk about this type of stuff.
It's
I mean, I
all
get
good.
radical, but
Edward said he want to talk about trucks.
yeah,
I wanna talk about
I
trucks.
teach
I wanna
people how
talk
to
about
build an empire, but but
Mhm.
yeah, you know what I mean.
It's good to know. I wanted to talk about a woman who I was dealing with, and I wasn't gonna say this, but since it was here, how can I say? So I invited her to my house. She wanted to have sex with me. I didn't have protection with me, so I said no. I shouldn't do it. She got angry and refused to leave my house. She did one of those things that I've had women do. They'll stand in the doorway, so you could either move them or you could do what they say. So she basically lied. She said, "Well, I'm gonna tell the police you hit me then." So it's just
okay.
like,
Great.
it just made me think of, and she also told me, when I finally got her to leave, she said, "You're lucky if you never see me again." So I've gotten a lot of like threats. Like you just made me think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as about being protected and being, if we look on the videos online, like who was running, who really, or who was really threatening. And when I thought about it yesterday, I think some sisters who say that um, they're least protected, it's like you're going to this dude who's known for being bad to women. You're like, why isn't he a protector? Or why isn't he doing this? So I think they
Mhm.
talk about the minority who is like no good. Like, why isn't he loyal? Like, all men ain't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just
Oh,
lost him.
maybe his
We
phone died.
just
Yeah.
lost him.
He's like, all
Yeah.
men ain't loyal. Yeah. Okay. But
Um,
he's only the men
can I
he
just say
didn't say
something?
men. Yes. And then I, of course, want to get to also Demetrius and Uncle Loke as well. But yes, go ahead.
All right. Just to bring it back to, like women being annoying and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think right now, like what we're all talking about, like American women, like American people and foreign people and stuff like that. The reason why is because America has been on this path of, basically putting more importance on feelings over fact. Okay, so
Yeah.
now a lot of women right now, they're starting to just feel their feelings, and instead of going through the logical process of being like, okay, is this worth complaining about or not, they just go with their feelings and complain straight to the person and cast all of their issues and everything like that towards that person, because that's what they do. They deflect. No one's trying to own their feelings, be self aware, and that's what they're doing, and that's what society has done right now. They
Mm-hmm.
actually reward that now. So it's right now, it's like the thing is just like a lot of women are not being humbled. Okay, even when they lose, they're rewarded. Okay, so it's like, how can you get through to someone and explain to someone when they have all these different avenues, yas queen, and yeah, you can do it, and don't
Mm-hmm.
worry about what they say, and hate, don't worry about all the haters, and like, they're not humbled enough. Men were humbled every single time. We're humbled by those same women, we're humbled by our own men, we're humbled by society. you know we're told we're not good enough from beginning to end, and we have to constantly keep on proving, you know and while doing that, we still have to maintain sanity and stuff like that while doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, for a woman to come over and start to constantly try to argue with the guy. The only thing he wants to do is go with peace.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing he can do, because he knows he can't win the argument, he can't explain to her, he can't humble her, he shuts down. He's quiet. He moves on. He goes somewhere else. And then what happens after that is that feeds the fire even more, because now these women who are running off of feelings, they're going and they're taking that as a actual response, that they don't care, they don't value our feelings, they don't do that, like, and all this other stuff that they internalize and make it the guy's fault, because again, they're still deflecting the issue and not internalizing it.
Yeah,
Okay,
because women don't have to.
of course not. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
why.
That's
Yeah,
the
women don't
difference
have to.
between
So
American women and foreign, like, because over here,
I'm not gonna
that's
lie. I
something.
want to say something though.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I think one of the I think one of the reasons why it's like that when it comes to men, like foreign men, uh, and foreign women dealing with foreign men, and the reason why they value them so much as well, I think is also because of like this dominant aura that they just naturally carry as well.
I think
Like
that's
if
part of
you
it.
go there and you say like I'm gonna use Jamaica for an example. Okay, just for an example. Like if you go there and you walk up to a guy in a store and you're like, happy wife, happy life, right? He's gonna be like, what? He's gonna be like, what are you talking? What does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like again, and it's all about that self, it's all about that self-respect that they carry, that energy that I'm the one, because they know like I have to use like the Jamaican culture, because like if you turn on a Jamaican radio station, right? Every song is gonna be like, I have enough gal, like in a bungle, and I can pick, choose, and refuse. Hot girl, this girl, skinny girl, this girl. Like I can have every single girl. So being that that's kind of like the nature, women are very much aware and constantly reminded that they are one of many, if that
I,
makes sense.
I think they're more acceptable of it in
They're more
reality
accepting of
rather than
reality.
put up a resistance to it, because those same songs
Right.
play over here, but they demonize the woman. See, in Jamaica, we sing those type of song and we glorify the woman.
Right.
But over
Think about
here,
that. Hold on.
they
Think
yeah,
about that.
I don't want to get you in trouble, because I always want your comment section with some of your people.
But think about that
You
for
know what I
real.
mean?
No, but for
Because
real.
because the women here are demonized, they call them names in those songs. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying? While in
True.
Jamaica, they're like, I'm gonna pick her up tonight, and you get what it's like. We glorify her, but over here they demonize them. They call them the B word, the C word, the F word. The
Mhm.
bedroom. What they're doing with them with their friends. You get what
That's
I'm
very
saying?
true.
So women over there are
That's very true.
more have that we have a better relationship with. It's just like if you were supposed to go to a child support court, and a lot of probably people who goes to go and watch this video, this live, is gonna attest to it in the comment section. They
Mhm.
will go to child support court with their first baby mama and have a horrible experience.
Mhm.
Then they date a Jamaican woman or a foreign woman, and she's like, "We're good, man. Just take care of your son. We're good."
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so you find out that you will have more respect for the foreign woman, because that woman, they don't look at the feeling side of the relationship. They look at the
No.
actual child need to be
Okay.
raised properly.
So we finally brought this back. Okay, we finally got the answer. The answer, and again, this is not a generalization. We're just talking about majority of the people that we know, and based off of what society has showed us, right? So this is not an every single thing. Every single Jamaican woman is great.
Right,
No.
right, right.
Not every single American woman has these same masculine tendencies. Absolutely not. There's no absolutes in this conversation. But I think that you just kind of like, if I could summarize what you're saying, it's the level of emotional intelligence. And I think that's a really big thing, the really big difference. And let me tell you why. Because when you look at all the other countries, I feel like, again, based off of the way that they grew up, based off of the situations that they have to endure,
Mm-hmm.
based off of the things that they kind of have to handle, they have a handle on their emotions. Whereas
Right,
over here, it's always been freely like, oh, I feel hungry. Let me just go to a drive-through. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say that these other places are not different, but I'm taking it deeper,
right, right,
right? Like, I'm hungry. Let me just go to a drive-through. Or, I think I want Starbucks. Actually, I want to go to a different Starbucks. So let me go to this one. Like, there's so many different options, choices that can feed their every craving. Oh, I don't want to eat that. You know what? I'm just gonna order takeout. I want to eat this. I want to, like everything is at your fingertips. Everything is so easily and has always been easily done for you. So you expect the same thing in a relationship. And the biggest thing in a relationship, bringing it full circle, not to make you annoying, the biggest thing in a relationship is to be able to be cooperative with your spouse. So you sometimes cooperation means that you're not going to feel the best. Sometimes cooperation means that it might not be something that you want to do, but that's what your spouse wants to do.
right.
Cooperation means not every time, like Kirk was saying, not every time we go out to dinner am I going to say, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to do this. No, sometimes cooperation is, babe, what do you want to eat? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I got to choose last time. It's your turn to choose. being able to be aware of that. And I definitely want to hear from Uncle Loke and Demetrius on what you guys' thoughts are. I don't know who wants to go first, but I definitely want to hear you guys' opinions on this.
I know Uncle Loke been on wait for a minute, so I can wait. He was here
Hey,
before me, right?
listen, keep me on, but I'm gonna let him go because I gotta put my groceries in the house. You know.
Okay. Okay.
I was in the market.
Everybody getting busy.
I know we
Yeah,
saw
and I'm
you.
on the way to
Don't
work.
put me down. I'm gonna be paid. Don't put me down. I'm
Don't
just
put
gonna
that
mute it and
jerk
put my
chicken and come
groceries.
back.
Hands up. I'm not touching nothing,
Oh,
Uncle Loke. He's so funny. He said, don't put me down. Demetrius.
Oh man.
Okay, so all right, so okay, because I wasn't gonna come on. I'm like, I gotta go to work. But y'all kept kind of just scratching the chalkboard. So the whole thing with dating women in the Caribbean and say not Asian women, but Spanish women or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of touched on it a little bit, River, with the fact that these countries are considered, from my understanding, still third world countries.
Correct.
So if you come to, if you're still in your country, you're going to be a little bit more cooperative. Then if you come to America as a first generation, you're going to be cooperative. And I've dated Jamaican women. I've dated a few, but one in particular, when she took a shower, she put a bucket of water to catch the overflow before the shower got warm. And then she used that water to flush the toilet. Then she would cut the water off between so she would, when she's lathering up, she would cut the water off. She would lather her body up, then she would cut it back on and rinse off. And she would go through that cycle. She would also wash her underwear in the shower. And she was first generation. She got here at 16. She 43 now. She got her master's and all that, own a house and everything. And she still operates like that. So when you take her out to Chick-fil-A, as someone said earlier, or to a restaurant where, hey, the bill might be $60 between both of us, she's still thankful in a sense, because she realizes when she was in Jamaica, like she used to tell me, she had to walk 2 miles to get clean water. So to compare that to an American woman, I think is disingenuous. And I know it's not all, because you said that several times, and I know I know it's not all, but by and large, I think it's a tad bit disingenuous, because you're comparing a third world situation to a quote unquote first world situation where you're supposed to have all these things, right? Your man's supposed to provide you all these things: the Cosby Show, the Jeffersons, the this, the that, get the bag, etc., etc. So you thinking that you supposed to have all these things versus being in a country where you didn't have these things, and you had to follow suit, because the men are still builders in these quote unquote third world countries. They still building over there. So you still need to rely on man in a way that you could say you don't have to rely on man in America, which cultivates these relationships where these attitudes where they feel entitled or can be annoying, etc., etc. You can't be annoying to a man that got to go out there and build something tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Here, but in America, you can kind of do that. So that's what I'm saying. I'll just end it right here. I go overseas too, like Edward. And one thing I don't do personally. I've done it, but I catch myself, and I only do it with my friends, but I kind of tell them, you could go overseas and you get all these privileges, but you cannot compare the women overseas to America, because you're talking about a small percentage of women that, if we talk about the sexual underworld, that a lot of men participate when they go overseas. You compare the small amount of women to a whole group of women in America. So of course the 5 or 10,000 women that may be in that world that's 100% cooperating, Of course, they in a world where that's their customer service.
I disagree with you.
Well, let me finish first, brother. It's really you can't. I mean, it's not really to disagree with, but I want to hear it.
I
You
disagree
dealing with a
also.
small
Just from a
population of women that's
different angle.
participating in a service where they have to be submissive or cooperative. So for a man to go over to another country, Brazil, Colombia, wherever, Dominican Republic, and compare those women to American women, who we got a total different situation going on over here, and say, yeah, I'm gonna bring one of them women back because they cooperative and they this and they that. And we hear all the horror stories of brothers bringing those women back, and those women flip the script. They become Americanized, they marry them, they get their English a little tight, and they bounce.
Green card, they leave.
Exactly. Because the thing about it is, it's hard.
I disagree with you.
Okay. Okay, let me hear this.
Hold on. Right before you disagree, Kirk.
I want to hear this.
Before you disagree, I just wanted to touch on the things that Demetrius is saying very, very quickly, and then I definitely want to hear what you're going to disagree with, Kirk. But I think there's okay. Let me just touch up the spots that I agree with, and then what I don't agree with, I'm gonna say it and then let Kirk talk. So there's a strong truth that there's women who live overseas that when they do get to be in a relationship with somebody, sometimes they flip the script. That is we can watch 90 Day Marriage, okay? Or what is it called? 90 Day Fiance. Mm-hmm. We see that all the time. Like they were definitely going to not, because they definitely are not going to maneuver how they would maneuver with the people who are around them. But I still think there's a reason why. The reason why is because they possibly look at the person who they're in a relationship with, who is not from their country, who is so willing, so caring, so nice, so kind of like a fool. So they're like, oh, okay, I got a fool to see this. So now I know that I can maneuver in a certain way and then scurry away from this fool. Because there's some people who stay married to their person, that the man goes overseas. He's like, oh man, I got a prize. And like the woman is like talking to her friends back in DR and is like, yeah, all I got to do is cook and clean and everything's provided for me. This is easy. I'm living the life. You know what I'm saying? And they got their man back home in DR and they're married for a long time and their man has no idea. He still thinks that he has the prize, so there is a very strong section of that situation. Now, and if she deals with somebody who's American, she's not going to deal with him the same way that she would deal with somebody who is from her own space, because she looks at his dominance different than she looks at your dominance. So when you said that about people flipping the script, very, very true, Demetrius. Another thing that I did want to note, though, is that, you're saying that there's a difference because it's kind of like a smaller, Jamaica's a dot, okay? Jamaica is a dot on the map, okay? If you don't look closely, you'll miss it. Okay, so I do understand that we're talking about a whole large space and then this kind of like a small landmass. However, there's a lot of Jamaicans in the world, man. Like even in America, we can name every single state and there's going to be a lot of us. Like there's a lot of people. So I feel like we are comparing still like a lot of people to a lot of people still. But I do completely understand what you're saying about the difference between the builders, right? Because there is a large difference. There is a large difference in how people live in Jamaica and how people live here. Things have, become very different, especially over the past couple of years. Like now you go to New Kingston, you're going to feel like you're in Florida, right? So there's a lot more of a difference, even though they are considered third world countries. Jamaica's very different than people know, unless you really go there and actually see it for yourself. Like, they have the highways and, it's a very different situation now. It's way more Americanized. And I also like to say too, you'd be surprised because a lot of women nowadays living in Jamaica are very Americanized. Okay, they want the Birkin bag too. They want to get flued out too, you know? So a lot of times when you go overseas, a lot of people who say these comments, I'm going to go overseas and find a wife. I think they're just speaking from happenstance because they haven't really gone over to explore the fact that a lot of the women are similar because of these mediums like YouTube, Instagram. You know, a lot of people have the same mindset, whether they're in Africa, Asia, or in Jamaica. They have this kind of like women can do all and men are beneath us kind of mindset. So I did want to say that. And there was more that you said, but I don't want to, you know, go too off and dissect everything that you said because I want to hear what Kirk disagrees with. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Well, so I disagree when you said that comparing American women with Jamaican women. American women are lack leadership. You get what I'm saying? You can put 10 American women in a classroom and bring one Jamaican woman in there and she will be able to teach her something once that classroom open up to be teachable. You get what I'm saying? The problem with American women is that they don't want to be teach anything. They're competitive with everybody. You, me, Edward, a whole bunch of women. You get what I'm saying? So when American woman, when a Jamaican woman come to America, or when vice versa, when a man want to go overseas to get a Jamaican woman, is because the temperament, the discipline, the value. American women don't want to even make breakfast. They don't want to wash. They don't want to cook. It gives them all the tools to run a household, and they refuse to use everything. But then they want to use the car and the credit card and all the other fancy stuff. You get what I'm saying? And they want to come out here and live life in a way as if they're comparing to foreign women. You get what I'm saying? So if you were dating a Jamaican woman, like you said yourself, and she take a shower and take care of herself, that up to this day you remember and still talk about, then that's a value you see in her that you haven't seen in no other kind of woman. You get what I'm saying? It's the value system we're talking about. We're not talking about the country itself. We're talking about the value system that these women running on from these different countries. That's why we're not saying everybody's the same thing. We're just talking about the culture different and the value system that make up both of the different cultures. That's what we're talking about.
So
but I understand what you're saying.
Let me say something.
And I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you in everything.
Because I'm about to walk in the job, I'm gonna still be listening in though. But so
yeah,
what I'm saying is this: the things that you said are due to the fact that these women are from the Caribbean, right? And they're coming from, and I don't want I'm gonna call a so-called third world situation, because in America, some of these communities are very similar to what we consider third world, and even the mentality. So you have women coming from a so-called third world situation. They're gonna be more cooperative. I remember I explained that story not as a value system, not just only that, but just to say that she's first generation. She came at 16, she's 43, and she still has that, if you want to say, value system compared to us coming out of slavery. We've been in America all our lives. We don't want to.
But we've been in that slavery too.
No more.
We got, but there you go. We got to cut that slavery thing out.
Hold on. Wait. Before you say that, Kirk.
Thing out.
Hold on. Before you say that, Kirk. But what you're saying, Demetrius, I understand what you're saying in that aspect. And I mean, I understood what you were saying before, but even the breakdown, because it's not just about the fact that you don't want to even, wash your clothes by hand anymore. That's so far removed from everybody had a wash machine. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
not in Flint, Michigan.
Not in Flint, Michigan. That's third world right there, though.
Not in Baltimore. I live in Washington, D.C. Just up the street. If you go to Baltimore, and I'm not trying to, issue on Baltimore, but it's a total different world. It's blocks and blocks. If anybody been to Baltimore, when I say you could go 10 city blocks and all the buildings are abandoned. Anybody in Baltimore heard about Baltimore? Row house on top of row house on top of row houses, completely empty in the United States of America. Speaking
Well,
of
let me
third world
let me ask
situation.
you something because I know you have to get off, but I really want to hear your input. Let me ask you something. So, in a sense, you know, you're kind of saying that there's third world situations here, right? As well as there is America, America the Great. There's still third
Right,
world situations all over the country, in every state, right?
right.
So, what would you think then would be the reason why our modern women here, right,
hmm
are so uncooperative or unwilling to take on the leadership of their spouses? Is it just simply because they just don't have to? Or
Basically, basically,
Mm,
they don't have to. Like I say, men are not.
mm,
We're not the builders anymore that society needs, particularly the black man. So
Absolutely not true.
so well, it is
Mm-mm.
true.
Mm-mm.
We're
I
not.
disagree with that.
You might be
We,
speaking for yourself. You're on your
okay,
own on that.
so
hold on,
well,
hold on. Let him
I'm
let him
gonna
speak
I'm gonna
because he has to
speak.
go to work, and I don't want him
No,
to
no,
get
no, no.
cut off.
It's all good. I'm gonna say it the way I'm gonna say it. Black men collectively, if you look at the construction jobs, if you look at with the infrastructure, you don't see us out there in large numbers. They've cut us out of that. They've cut us completely out of that. So are some of us out there? Yeah, but are we out there the way we were 30, 40, 50 years ago? We're not. I mean, you could just ride by in any major city. Again, I live in Washington, D.C., so I see it take place every single day.
I just
So
moved from there.
the black woman in her mind does not need the black man anymore because she making money. She could pay for everything, even though it's a man that come in there to do the job that she paying for it. But in her mind, she paying for it out of her own pocket, so she don't feel like she need the black man no more the way she needed him back in the day.
But
That
Demetrius, but
Absolutely not
Demetrius,
true.
if the black man don't want her, the white man don't want her either, and the Hispanic man don't want her, and the guy from Italy don't want her. So I don't know what you're talking about when you said that black man, the relationship with the black man is not there no more.
That
We
sounds like
black
you're
man
listening
is
to.
still the
That's not the
builders
message those
You've
women
been
up
are
to this
listening
giving
to
in
the
the
day.
women.
DMs,
That's
though.
not true. Not even
Hey,
close.
let me
what you
get
said.
on. Let me get on next when y'all get done. You know.
What you said. You said we
For
still the
sure, Uncle.
building. What you mean?
All right,
We
let me.
are we. I'm
I
gonna let you
Okay.
finish
I'm
because I know
still
you gotta
listening.
go to work.
Oh, I was going to respond
I'm
before he
still
went to work.
listening. I'm still listening.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Demetrius.
All right, go. I'll let
Go ahead, Scam Likely.
Oh, I thought
All
you.
right, here's the deal.
He said he wanted to respond to him really quick
Yeah,
before he goes to work. And then, Uncle, I definitely want to hear what you have to say.
yeah.
So,
I'm just make it pretty. I'm gonna make it simple. If you're talking
okay.
about black women in America, there's things that people need. There's things that people are, and there's things that people do.
Mm-hmm.
Black men, there's a whole lot of black men out there, Dusty. Let's be real. They were raised by these same black women. That's who raised them. They're the ones creating it because they decided, I don't need a man to try to raise a man. So, boy and girl grow up not seeing what actual building is. More of that became a woman's choice. But what is it that the black woman, there is not black woman making $300,000 a year and a whole bunch of broke dudes over here to the left. That's not what this is. There are black men who are making money. There are black women who the best option that they have because of who they are, because of their weight, because of their attitude, and because they already went and got pregnant by a Quan or whatever it is, the best option that they have is a black man. Or if not, hey, go get a white dude. Ain't nobody tripping. But if the best option they have ain't good enough to provide for them and ain't making no money anyway, who's the problem? The men are making it on themselves. And you're talking about women who spend their lives operating in emotions, making constant bad decisions. Look at their weight. Look at their how they live. Look at the way they're spending money and where they spend their time. A lot of them are losing, and they're lucky that there's an option out there that black men still are willing to take it on. So to say that the black women are building and they don't need a man, look at them. They need a new fitness plan. They need health insurance. They're going to be dead in 10 years with an oxygen tank. They don't lose the weight. They're not rich and they don't own anything.
I want to say something really quick. Sorry not to cut you off, but I want to say something really quick just based off of something that I've heard you say before in a previous stream, you know? And So just because something that you said, I literally have gone to the gym and purposely looked around now. Like I never did
They're
that
not in there,
before
are they?
because I'm very like zoned. Like when I go, I'm just like, nobody look at me, leave me alone. I'm trying to just do my thing and get out of here. And I purposely looked around and one thing that you said, you were like, when you look at the majority of women who are in the gym, there's not many women who go that look like me. And it's a sad truth. It is a sad truth because when I go, I'm looking. I looked. I went different times, different days on purpose so I can see, what it is that you were saying. And when I went, I think I hear. Oh, it was okay. Thanks, Kashan. When I went, I looked around and I saw me, and I think there was like 2 other women who were black,
They
and the
probably had men
rest,
too, didn't they?
the rest were, huh?
You have a man, right? And them other 2
Yeah.
black women have a
No,
man.
they were married. You can tell.
So 3 black women in the
You could
gym and 3
tell.
black women who are married. Is that a coincidence?
No.
And wasn't there a whole bunch of men in there that are probably single,
Yeah.
almost good looking as me or something in the gym?
There was a lot of men in the gym. But there was also a lot of other women in the gym too,
Other races.
who might have been single. And there were other races.
So is it a surprise that they go get some good, healthy men? All the ones who went to the gym, there's some good, healthy men in there ready for them to go ahead and take. Is that a surprise?
Yeah, because I see the girls. I mean, I be seeing them. Okay. When I go, I be really like a nun when I go to the gym. Okay. I'm like, don't look at nothing. I got a big old t-shirt, don't be looking at nothing. But I see them like in the, their crop tops and the, running across the gym. It's definitely a space that you see people are mingling like, oh, can you help me with this heavy bar?
How you get a
You
man?
see
It
it.
works
You
every time.
definitely
They're there
see
to
like,
compete.
I'll be sitting there on the treadmill like, oh, nah, this is crazy. What is this, TV? But you see the interaction between them. But just based off of what you said one time, and I think it was on the Peef, I don't even remember where it was.
I
And
say
I
it
was
all
just
the
like,
time.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
was just like, man, that's so true. Like, there's not a lot of us in the gym. And why? Because of a lack of knowledge. But the same thing, but I saw somebody said, try the nail shop or the hair store.
Or the buffet.
Child, that's a whole different conversation because
You don't want to go in there.
because
Nah,
that's where they
don't go in
are.
there. Get your
Because
hair
that's
taken
really
off.
where they are, to be honest. I mean, like they look good, but are they healthy? I don't know. But this goes on to the same thing. And Uncle, I'm coming right to you, okay? Because this goes along with the same exact situation, okay? So we have the women who look like us, right? Who aren't necessarily in the gym. They're not necessarily cooperative. This conversation was about women who are more so annoying, and I don't really think that they're necessarily annoying. I think more times than not, we talk about our community, and it's more of like a disrespect thing, right? So lack of knowledge, disrespect, overweight, don't want to hear nothing from nobody. We're trying to find the difference between why men in the West have more complaints about the women around them, why women and men can't get it together. Uncle, I definitely want to hear your thoughts about this.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah, I mean, while I was in the market, I've been hearing everything, and I was getting a little sensitive about it, as a black nationalist,
Mhm.
I have.
That's why I told you I wanted to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, me knowing history, collective history about black culture, there besides a language barrier, there's no difference between black culture and Hispanic or Latino or Caribbean culture. We share the same ancestors.
I got pushback, but go ahead.
And if you look at our diets, it's the same thing. We eat rice and beans. We all eat rice and beans.
That's what I was saying. Mm-hmm.
But what I want to say is the difference between them and black us is that in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s, they wasn't trained or indoctrinated to be against their counterparts, men. They wasn't The other women, they wasn't indoctrinated to be against their women. They these females was literally programmed. Like they literally use feminist, saltine feminist talking points, and they got paid to do it. So we have generations where I'm technically a millennial. I'm technically a Generation X, but I'm really a millennial because of my family structure. So I was raised at my grandmammy house. I was raised at my grandparents' house. I wasn't raised by my parents.
Right.
But so I seen the 2-parent household with my grandmom and grandpa, who was together for 45 years till he died. So like on the culture aspect, that's the major difference, is that, a lot of Hispanic or Latino or Caribbean females or even African females, or anybody, any black people, a lot of them wasn't programmed to be against their men. And that's the major disconnect, because if a lot of this nagging or annoyance is based upon control, power tripping, ego tripping. Like a lot of these females, they have so low self-esteem that they have to feed on their ego in order to look themselves in the mirror. You look at them; they're ashamed. They cover their head, they cover their real face, they cover their body, like they misinterpret, like they're ashamed of themselves, or they don't take pride in who they are as black people, because of whatever programming that they fed into. So that's the major difference. Like I just had a disagreement with a young lady. I was feeling her. I wanted to deal with her, but this individual wanted to put me in the friend zone, and I'm like, I said, okay, we're gonna be friends, but we're gonna be friends. You ain't getting no boyfriend privileges from me. You know what I'm saying? We just gonna be friends if you want to talk and have advice and all that. But all that stuff I was doing, it ain't happening. And a lot of times, and then, earlier today, she tried to tempt me a little bit, but I'm like, nah, we're friends.
We're friends.
I'm gonna treat you like the homie. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna treat like we friends, be friends. But anyway, off of that, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's a power trip with a lot of them. A lot of them know that if they can, like it's the saying that anybody that can basically antagonize you is your master. So that's what it is. It's mostly a power trip. And like a lot of people say that the black community is a matriarchy. No, it's not. If it is, it's an enforced matriarchy. And I was going back and forth. I was going back and forth with this lady on on Instagram on in the comment section of Kevin Samuels' video, and she was just going back and forth. We just going back and forth and going back and forth, and she just was just trying to paint the worst pictures of black men possible and to give a comparison. And I was just letting her know that house pets or homosexuals are not men; they are males.
Who raised those, man? Who raised those?
Exactly.
Women.
Like I said,
it's a matriarchy. But go ahead. I got 2 hands worth of pushback, but go ahead and finish. My apologies.
I agree with that, but because I'm gonna keep it G with you. If I didn't go outside and find masculinity, and get masculine, get from the homies, I probably would have been a house cat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like I had to go outside to get masculinity. You know what I'm saying? I even because my grandmom took advantage of my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not my biological grandfather, but he was with her since my mom was 5. You feel what I'm saying? He took on 5. He took on He took on 5 children that wasn't his. And she did her duty because she was trained to do her duty. You know what I mean? It's just that You know what I mean? That's another story. But what I want to say is that's how I feel about the annoyance. And let me hear Mr. Pushback.
So
I want to hear
yeah, I
everybody.
want to hear too. I want to hear the pushback too, and of course, I
Okay.
definitely want to hear Mr. Steele because obviously he
What's
has
going on, Eugene?
a wise insight to bring to this conversation based off of time, you know.
Right.
But
And I'm
one
probably
thing that I
older than
wanted
y'all
to
too.
say really quick to you, Uncle Loke, is that you know I want to say that that's a really big difference. You know, I've been trying to get to the nitty gritty of what would be the biggest difference, and I think that is a huge difference. You know, like you said, what happened in the '80s and the push and the I forgot who the woman's name, what the woman's name was right now, but that push in bringing Black women into feminism and saying we're better than them, and we don't need any men, and kind of like the enforcement of ripping the families apart is one of the greatest differences because I mean from what I know from history, from what I know in Jamaica, it definitely didn't go like that. That definitely didn't occur. It's more of in all of these other countries, it's definitely more of classism than racism. Okay, not to say that racism does not exist, but it's definitely a class issue, whether it's the Dominican Republic, whether it's Jamaica, whether it's Puerto Rico. It's definitely more of the money that you have and where you live, more than what it is kind of like that you look like, because there's such a difference. You can go to the ghetto and find people that look different, and you can go uptown and find people that look very different, whether they're mixed with white, Asian, Black, Spanish, whatever. So it's definitely different than skin pigment. So I think that is a major difference. How the transfer of going through, like, like the segregation, then going into them being like regular, finally valued as people, and then the war that they had to go and fight, the just all that separation is what made this society kind of what it is today, with a whole bunch of indoctrination and help from other people that we didn't need help or indoctrination from, that were kind of still trying to steer the society of Black people in one direction, right? Let's take this whole section. We still want you to think like this. We still don't want you to know all your power. We still don't want you to know, your worth. So we're still gonna push these people who talk like this in this direction instead.
Let me say this, ma'am.
Sure.
To go along with that.
Mhm.
There's always a story about how, I mean, out of slavery up until the 1970s, we were in very great shape as a group,
Jamaica
as
too.
as a culture.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that what is now that what we are experiencing now is basically social engineering.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
A lot of the ways that a lot of Caribbeans or Africans are, as far as in their femininity, is how is culturally how we used to be prior to the indoctrination in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, how else can you explain 80% marriage rate? Um, a lot of, like I say, the biggest, we can't put a lot of this blame on men because of such and such and such, because a lot of us as Black men, we are not really as militarily on the military level, we are not as we don't have that foresight as our enemy does. So that's what I got to say.
Who is the enemy?
I wanna read this comment really quick.
Who's
It
the
says
enemy?
Saltine's our enemy, our natural born enemy.
Saltine.
Hold on. I want to read. Hold
Huh?
on. Wait. This conversation is going left. Wait. Hold on. I want to read this comment on the screen. It says class and skin tone go hand in hand. That's why many Caribbean Africans are bleaching. No, I mean I think that's just a general overall indoctrination. To be honest, I mean that's just general like Black people all over the place have the mentality white is right. right? Like the whiter, the better, the more opportunity, because they are the ones who, came over and conquered places that people were already living at, colonized it, and they made the opportunities for themselves, right? I hope you guys are, I'm trying to talk in a way that's peaceful, but I'm still trying to make the point, right? So they had made the opportunities for themselves. So even though you live in these other spaces, because there's other people who look differently, who are in higher positions, you start to try to mirror that because you think it's going to assist you in your growth, because they are the people who formed these situations, right? So it is, they do have that same mentality, white is right. Same thing with people who, perm their hair, color their hair blonde, and all these kind of things. It's just the same in European standard. However, classism is still different, because you can still have somebody who lives uptown, for lack of better words, and who is very well off and who does not have to change their skin tone. But they very much disassociate themselves between themselves and the people who live beneath them, because they think because of their wealth, they are better. So it does go hand in hand, but it's still not the same thing as how it is here. And I think even just the very way of how they got out of slavery is just completely different as well, too. It was a very different bridges off. Here, like some kind of something was signed and then they finally released everybody and stuff like that. Over there,
Mhm.
they fought their way out, to be honest. They fought their way out,
That's
and they were like
that's not.
left by themselves.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I really dislike that. No, our ancestors fought too.
I didn't say
It
they didn't
wasn't
fight.
just
I
it
didn't say
wasn't
they
just
didn't fight.
no. I feel you, ma'am. I hate when people say that. I'm not. It's not against you, so I
No,
don't
but
want you to beat me up.
it's my ancestors too, because my dad is a Black American. Everybody in his family is from America.
So,
So, but I'm saying it's a very big difference. It's a very big difference when you think of how, because I'm agreeing with what you're saying, but I'm saying I understand that because it's a very big difference. Because I'm speaking off of the base off of the side that I do know. I don't know my father. I never met my father's side at all. So I'm speaking
Yeah,
off of the knowledge that I do have based off of the country that I'm directly
yeah,
affected by. And I'm
yeah.
saying there is a big difference in what occurred, because even I'm going to use this for an example. Even when Jamaica got its independence, right? They were on top. But what happened is that all the buildings and infrastructure that was put in place by England, right? They were building up this great country that they were in control of. Whenever they let go of control and they were like, okay, fine, you want your own money, you want your own this, you want to be able to do your own thing. A lot of that stuff that was supposed to be built never got built, right?
Hmm.
Because of the fact that, like, okay, you're gonna do it on your own, do it on your own without us, right? So they were on top. Their money was very powerful, and then everything changed when they wanted to get their own independence and stuff like that. So I'm saying I do agree that there is major differences between the two
Hmm. Yeah,
lands for
yeah.
every
I would
reason.
say. I mean, our ancestors made a deal with Lincoln to participate in exchange for constitutional protection, and
well,
we
who are they
fought,
making?
and
Oh, go
and
ahead.
we won, and we won our major league. Martin Delaney, he was one of the major individuals who spoke with Lincoln and had that discussion. And oh snap!
Yeah, who are black people making a deal with right now? That's what I want to know. 2022.
Who
Uh,
in reference to what?
Jesus.
okay, pushback time. Who the bill
I,
is? As a black one, there is
I
no
would
black.
say that the Democratic Party structure. I would say that
Yeah, and it was a scam. It's
power
more
structure,
scam
not
like
party
it.
structure. Power structure.
It's a scam. But CNN teaches the Victim Olympics, and black people bought it. The matriarchy bought it, and they taught it to their kids. Remember, if it's 70, 80% single mother households, more of the children, more of the people are over there. That's why it's a matriarch, because more people are growing up in it. The people like me, who I grew up with my father, or even if I didn't, well, I don't know. But I'm looking around and they're saying that there's some kind of black community and black culture and biggity, black. We got to stick with the black and black. It's a scam. When have you seen black people put their money into something? It's a matter of time. Pastor, come on now, give us the money. He's gonna run off with the check. A scam businessman, whoever in Atlanta with that, they run off with the money. There is no black people doing business together. And actually, I've said this on the other panel, the definition of community: a group of people living in the same place with a particular characteristic in common. You got, man, you dark skinned, light skinned, you mixed, you ain't real, you ain't really black because you Jamaican. This ain't no community. It's a whole bunch of people doing what they want to do. That's what it is. Now, here's the other deal. I said this yesterday. Black community is the only, or fake black community is the only ones that'll kick you out for succeeding. I put a suit on and try to be a teacher. What you looking at, sucker? Somebody at home is telling them the dude with a suit on or a well-dressed, well-groomed man speaking educated, he's talking white, he's a sellout, he likes Becky's, or don't back down to no man. So women are teaching their kids to fear them with their belt and their angry emotions and telling you that your father was a sucker. Don't follow him. So don't follow male leadership. It's taught. And it goes generations deep. They're still doing it. So people like me, I didn't identify as an independent contractor. I do not represent the black community. I'm a free agent. It is what it is. What they're doing needs to stop. And I don't want my name nowhere near it. Most people who are black, I just say it as it is. I rock with black people, but select few. Other thing was, so we, the black communities, the average black household is about $46,000 a year. An average black man makes 42. Average Hispanic man makes 37. Average Hispanic woman 32. But their average household income is 56, meaning their households are making more than us. Also, they spend their money in the community. They go to church. They do business in their community. Their HVAC man knows the guy who does flooring, who does plumbing. To when their 10-year-old son, that is what they do. That's where we buy. This is where we go. All they see is brown, brown, and brown. That's the actual community.
So I think, and to go along with that, I think that there are aspects of the country that still operate that way. I feel like places like, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but it's not. But I feel like New York, I feel like is very community based, right? Like if you live in a certain community, you know, like the tire man, the tax man, the this man, the that man, the guy that can do the floor, the guy that can do the this, like, you know, I feel like that. And I feel like in other places as well, you know, all over the place.
You mean for black?
For black people, right.
Yeah,
Atlanta's buildings, I'm sure it's the same way.
Most of them are Caribbean though.
Yeah.
They're still all Caribbean though.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I use the word community when I say black community loosely. You are correct. There's the
and there's no smoke
black community.
No smoke, no disrespect. No smoke, no disrespect. This conversation.
Oh, I feel you, homie. I ain't tripping. All I'm saying to you is that you're right. Because a lot of times I don't even say the word community, but you know, I say collective. I don't really say community because we don't operate. We don't communicate with unity. So I don't. I feel like we are very fractured. You know, only time we do seem like we function is when drama happens. You know, like you know how a lot of times we only see people that can't see weddings no more, but funerals. Ain't no weddings happening no more.
They celebrate baby showers now.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible for us to be a community when only 30% or 26% of us are married. It's impossible to have a community with those numbers. So I dig it. I ain't disagreeing with you, homie.
No,
I second that.
How can we? The Indians, even probably Jamaicans and Nigerians, but Indians, Pakistan, Asians, if you dusty over there in their community, you go get a girl pregnant, somebody's going to square up on you. Hey, bro, you got this chick pregnant. You're going to take care of that kid. Or you go and rob and rip somebody off, you kicked out. No, get out.
Yeah,
get
that's
out.
true.
You ain't Asian no more. You got to move. But black, you can come out of prison and get a welcome home. You rob somebody or smoke somebody, you get a welcome home into whatever they call a community. But wearing a suit, not telling somebody what they want to hear, they kick you out.
See,
That's the functional mindset.
the thing is,
Dysfunctional
I'm
mindset.
very intrigued by this conversation. And there's a conversation I have coming up. I don't want to mention it because sometimes I be saying stuff and then people get my ideas. So, but there's a conversation that I have that's coming up that's gonna lead even deeper into this aspect of the conversation. So I'm very intrigued. But I'm gonna touch on an aspect of the conversation briefly because the thing is, for me, right? I was raised. I'm Jamaican. Okay. My dad is American. I'm using that as a ploy so that nobody gets mad at me for having this conversation. But I my stepfather is also American, and he's from Arkansas. Okay. And everybody is from Arkansas. He's rooted. Okay. He's tried and true. But I think that there's a big disconnect. And this is a major part of the conversation because we have people who will say, oh, well, that's different because that person is Latina, or that's different because that person is Asian, that's different because that person is from the Caribbean. But for me, I mean, I look at it as like we all black people. Like, to me, we all black people. So but I know that that's my mindset, but there is still major differences that are going to come based off of the land that you are from. Like, regardless of if we're all very similar, the mindsets are going to be different because there's major differences in all of these different places. But I'm just going to leave that there so that we can deepen this conversation in another way. But I want to hear what Mr. Steele has to say.
Let me say this before you get into it. I'm sorry, sir. Let me say this, sir. The Malcolm X quote, I just had to remember the Malcolm X quote the females use nowadays, the modern black female use nowadays, don't apply to them because they are the most protected. They up there with they saltine.
What is saltine? What are you talking about?
White people.
It's instead of saying cracker, because ain't nobody nobody cracking no whip on me. I say saltine because when they hit that hot water, they melt. But go ahead, Mr. Steele, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Poor Mr. Steele. He's like, what?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to make go ahead, but I wanted to make one comment. Then the mic is all yours. But go ahead, Eugene.
Okay. I'm thinking about the mentality of some of these women today about being strong and independent. I know if you think about the history of this country, women has always wanted certain rights, and I believe in women's rights. But I think that one of the very few events that really set that mentality off was where I think this was World War II, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where all the men were off to war, women were working factory jobs. These were men's jobs they were working. And at the end of the day, even though the women's, who worked those men's job was still pretty feminine, I think there were some women who interpreted it as, hey, we could do that just as well as the men do. And I think one person actually painted a poster. I don't know if you've seen this poster or not, but it's this white woman with a white woman with a rag on her head flexing her muscle. I mean, that's a strong symbol right there. And I think that really sort of set that mentality off, where they could say, okay, now I can do what a man does. And in some cases, shoot, some of the things I can do better than a man. Now, some women got it, but I always wondered how this mentality reached Black women, since, Black women, well, at least I've heard this mentality reach more Black women than white women. And, with that mentality, now she has a sense of, I can be the boss chick and stuff like that. I think that's where that was rooted. And it makes me wonder, Well, what would have it been if these first women were not allowed to work in these factory jobs back then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We
have
would
you
have
ever
lost the
wondered
war.
that?
They wouldn't have any power, that's for sure. You know, and
Honestly, they don't
I
have
think,
power now.
but
Can I
I
just say
think,
one thing? Not to interrupt, but like I
sure.
think what it is like they weren't understanding that they saw that they had a purpose and that it was to help during the war, but they didn't realize that they were just shifting over and still being helpme's. That they were aiding the men that were in the war. They were
Hmm.
providing what the men needed in the war. Just like how when the man comes home, they provide his substance, everything that he needs to keep him strong so that he can provide for the family. The man was
Exactly.
had to leave. He had to protect the country. So now the women at home had to go out and do what they need to do to help the guys to protect everyone. That's what it
Yeah,
was. It wasn't about, oh, now we can do what a man can do. It's about playing the role, you know, and being what you can do for the men, like and knowing that as a actual purpose, not
but
internalizing it and making it into something that it's not. And
the
that's what
thing is, we
women
don't
are
have
doing.
what we seen for the majority is that we don't see that. We don't see that. We don't see women holding men to a high regard. Period. I mean, look at how they talk about them on social media. You know, if you don't come over here and I don't even want to say it, but a lot of the songs now is just like he can just where it used to be it used to be slob on the knob, now it's like the opposite, like the women are saying that like he can come over here, do this. Obviously it's not a knob, you get what I'm saying. Just stay
Hmm.
focused,
We
resident,
get
stay
it.
focused. Right,
right.
you just do this and then you cut and then that's it. And it's like this whole like women again walking around like throwing their balls around, and it's a completely different situation. It's not women seeing men in authority, it's not women having respect for them, it's not women feeling like they need men and they need to assist them. Because if women felt if the majority of women felt that way, then majority of women would be having these conversations, right? So
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out the disconnect as to what is it in these women's
I'll tell you
mindsets
what it is.
that make you feel as though you don't need a man, you're better than your man. And I'm still trying to figure out like how can someone on the outside convince you that you don't need your own man?
See,
It's
that's a
a taught
lie
behavior. It's
because
taught
they
behavior.
it's a lie. They do need men. They just or have been subsidized and funded for so long that they don't. It's not that they don't need no man. They just we black. They don't need black men at the moment because they can outsource. They're able to outsource. That's the only difference. Is they able to outsource and they able to be protected for them outsourcing. There's no cultural police
Mm-hmm.
where you get out of line, I mean, just like other communities, like the homie was saying, if you act up when you used to act up in the black when there was a black community, you were shunned. You were not allowed to return.
It was
You dig what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
community
And
based
even
too.
in the Asian community, once you do something, man, you ain't coming back. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of communities who still have um cultural police, and we don't have cultural police. You know what I mean? There's mayors
Can I
of
say
I
something?
live in a black town,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see, not to say anything bad about immigrants, but I live in a black town and it's starting to get a little Hispanic around here.
Mm-hmm.
Um and this is the only black city in the county where I live at.
Mm.
And I'm talking about they boarding up whole homes and not letting nobody else in. Like it's hard for a lot of people to find housing because they trying to move a lot of non-Americans in.
Hey,
And
Watch what the Hispanics do in 5 years.
Hold,
Watch.
hold on one second. Let me read this comment. And first of all, Kashawn, I'm like giggling because I didn't see you there. I did not see you. And I scrolled up. I'm like, Kashawn just sitting down here in the chat, calm, cool, collected.
How to
Anyway,
work with the women of today.
I
Absolutely
want
not.
to read this comment. It says, I wish men would accept and come to the realization that it will never be the same. Those times are over and done with. Focus on how to work with the women of today. I do not think that this comment is for men. I
It's
do
not.
not think that men will have any
No.
issues. Men
No,
actually congregating. All
No.
the men are shaking their head no.
no.
Men
Let them.
congregating
Listen. I'm
and
sorry.
having this conversation. It's okay. Men congregating and having this conversation constantly in different panels that we can see. They literally are the ones who are showing that they are the stable minded, and they will definitely align themselves with a woman who is also on the same page that they are in, and they will be a-okay. It's the woman
Let them die out.
today.
No, let them die out.
I
If they don't want to
appreciate the support.
cooperate, then they don't have to operate.
I
Let them
agree.
die
Wait. I want to finish. The woman
I'm
of
sorry.
today is okay. The woman of today is the one that's going to have an issue because the woman of today is the one, as he said, that are going to be alone. They're going to realize that after all this putting my effort into a job, a career, my friends, hot girl summers, all of these things, they're going to end up alone when other people who were willing to get on a man's page and willing to be cooperative and humble enough to understand that having a man in your home that is there 24/7 to be able to provide protection for you is a privilege. Until they figure that out, they're going to be living up their life thinking that they're doing the best thing, and then they're going to turn around and say, wait, no man wants me. Now what do I do? So it's definitely not men that need to accept or come to any realization. Okay. This thinking is the problem that we have. That is all about the men, and it's really not. It's really
I
about the
answer,
women.
Charlotte.
Hey,
wait, Zeus.
hold on.
Hold on
Yeah,
one
Zeus,
second, Zeus. I
please,
just want to say
please go
one
ahead,
thing.
Zeus. Hold on. Let Zeus go first because
All
he's
right,
been
all right.
waiting for a while. I want to hear his.
Okay. I was exercising earlier. I listened to the whole stream, by the way, and I took some notes about what you were talking about. First thing, I think as a whole, we need to stop talking about the world as if the whole world is like third world.
Mm.
The whole world is not a third world place. There's other places that are much better off than we are in America, by the way.
True.
And that's very annoying. Someone, I don't know the man's name. I don't want to speak ill of him. He's not here to defend himself. But saying that women from other countries don't have access to these things. The place where I live, they have more opportunities than men do. So.
Oh, I'm so glad you came on. I'm so glad you came on.
So what is they have grants, it's like 60% women in schools. What do you mean?
So how do they treat their men?
Like kings.
What country?
Why?
Where you from?
Why?
Where you from?
I'm in Hong Kong. I'm in Hong Kong right now.
Oh, where you from?
Oh, I'm from Mexico, Brazil, the States.
Okay.
Those three countries.
Cool.
So there's, and as well as
my country, but wait, we have to stop there. Okay, you can't just come in here and with it loaded, with the chopper loaded, and then just walk away. Why? Okay, first of all, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. All because I didn't want to negate the fact that some places are really like, I can just use a couple for like I could use Cuba, for example. There are places that are very different, but in 2022, you can go to another country and feel like you're still, I say Florida because the palm trees and stuff, and still feel like you're living the same kind of thing. You walk into a little, you can go to Starbucks, you can walk into a little juice shop, a smoothie shop, so it's very true. And then when you're talking about places like Hong Kong, okay, and a lot of places in Asia are so much more far advanced than we are even operating at. So, but why do you think they don't have that power trip issue? Why do you think there's not an issue? Because, and I want to take this deeper for everybody, because it's not just about Black women. Okay. although we are black, I am a black woman and we're black people on the panel and we're talking about black people, but I'm saying American women on a whole. You know, I've seen white men in my comments like, "Hey, Riva, no disrespect, but our girls are tripping too." You know, and
Facts.
Latin men that are like, "Hey, no disrespect, our girls are tripping too." Like, it's not just we want to be a part of this deeper conversation because it's not just you guys who are going through this. It's this whole modern woman mindset. So I want to ask Zeus, based off of your experience living overseas, not just visiting, but like living overseas, what do you think is the major difference between the women who are over there, who have their careers, who are very financially well off, stable, technically, you know, in the Western mindset, they would say they don't need a man. What is the difference between the women over there and the women over here?
Hey, I'm dropping off. Y'all have a good night.
Oh, thank you so
You too, man.
much. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Same
Don't
here.
run the Victim Olympics. Don't do it.
No, there's I think the difference would be collectivism versus individualism for sure. And then
I can hear you. By the way, I just have to check my food really quick. Okay, hold on.
and actual real social pressures. Like if you are not married by 30, there's really consequences. You're left over here. Yeah. You're just called a leftover woman and society will deem you as unacceptable. So you need to stay fit, you need to stay pretty, you need all those things. And if you're not, then they just won't pick you. And you will just end up having to adopt a kid and being alone.
That's true. I work in a residential building that has a lot of Asian population in it, and they end up, as soon as they get married, they have their first kid. Next year, they're having their second kid, and they're constantly going into the gym and making sure that they keep themselves nice and lean because they are still competing even within their own marriage. So I mean, I get that, believe me. What I was trying to say earlier is that the difference is it's not that like it's just black women or anything like that, even though it's really high on our black women because a lot of black women don't really see black men as much of anything nowadays, but it is happening with all men. But the thing that is the disconnect is because as women are gaining a lot of masculine roles, okay, they're not getting humbled like men do. Okay, so as a man, you do what you need to do. You make your sacrifices. You do your long nights. You do whatever and you'll get to a certain point in your life where you may have everything fit together. Then something wrong happens, and you have your midlife crisis and breakdown, and there's all sorts of things that men go through, but they have to deal with it in like keeping their frame keeping just keeping a masculine frame, making sure that they still have everything intact. Women, they get to be masculine, but then still get to have their feelings. They still get to be able to have that release and complain to the world. They still get to play the victim while being the boss. They still have their cake and they're able to eat it too. That's why there's the disconnect. So that's why I say, like I said earlier, they're not being humble because like they're not getting the realization that men have to deal with. Okay, think of it this way. All right.
Hold on 1 second, resident. I want to read this comment really quick, and then I also want to hear Kashan's point of view also because Kashan has been waiting for a long time, and I did not even see when he dropped down. But it says it's traditional culture and religion that makes the biggest difference. I don't know. I don't think so because that would be stating that Americans don't have culture, and that's not true. So and everywhere is religious. Like here the most you can be whatever, so I definitely don't think that's what makes the biggest difference. I definitely don't. Kashan, I definitely want to hear your opinion on this as well. I definitely want to hear it.
Okay. So just to hit this comment first, no, it's not tradition or religion because that you can find it anywhere, like you just said. You know, I've listened to the entire conversation and I've noticed one thing that nobody has hit on.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between American women and those overseas is the way they are raised. The women overseas are raised to be wives. They are raised to hold their men to a higher esteem. They're not raised that way here in America.
But why? But like okay, when I say but why, right? Let me add more context. When I say but why, I mean as in why would the women here not raise their children in that manner?
Because you have broken people raising broken children who grow up to be broken adults.
But in other places there's broken people too.
There's broken everywhere, but there's things passed down overseas that used to be passed down here in America that suddenly disappeared when the feminist movement took over, and a lot of those things were lost. And today's women are raised by social media, movies, TV.
That's true.
Which pushes those same things even further away. And it's not all women, because there are some women that are raised with the same mindset that women overseas are raised with. But the majority of the women that we're talking about, those that tend to operate in a masculine energy and feel like they don't need a man, and number one, they're taught to be angry with men. They're taught to hate men because of hurt feelings and pain that the person that taught them had, and they pass those same emotions and feelings down, and it's being passed down generation to generation. And it's not like that overseas, as far as what I've studied. And
I got one thing to add to that.
Okay.
You are pretty close, but there is another element too. Even when me and my woman are out in public, people will check my woman for not standing up straight, for not crossing her legs whenever she sits down. There's an old woman walking by, she'll be like, you know, and then she'll sit up straight. That shit's gone in America. Everyone can do whatever they want. That shit's
completely gone.
You know,
And
with everybody
not only
accountability.
Not only that, but there have been things placed in systems for women to gravitate to and gravitate away from men. Welfare, child support. All these things have been put into place to pull women away from the idea of looking at a man as the prize, as a king, and that they're empowered, they're strong, that they can do this on their own, when they're not actually doing it on their own, regardless of how they feel. They can't finish the entire job without a man. And when they don't have a man, it shows in the way the children are raised and grown up. Because there are things missing that only a man can provide.
And somebody said something, this comment here says the matriarchy is what's failing this country. And then I saw another thing that said social media is fairly new and these issues have been here before then. So please swap with the social media argument. And I think that is true. I think it has been here for a while, but I think this is what we're trying to figure out, right? Not really trying to figure out, because I feel like the answers are there, but we're trying to deepen the conversation and also the thought process, because we were talking about being annoying and that was a whole different aspect. But what happened is that it kind of just wound its way here, and I don't want to stop the conversation, but my deepest question that I'm always going to constantly ask, regardless of every answer that's given, my deepest question is going to be, what is it that made the women detach themselves from their own men? And because other women have gone through other things in other countries,
Mm-hmm.
trials,
Mm-hmm.
tribulations, separations, things that they had to deal with. Some women don't know their father overseas too, but there's a big difference because more times than not, women who are overseas that don't know their father, they still carry their last name. In America, it's not like that. Your mom will just give you
Mm-hmm.
her name, and who cares about that other side? So I think that there's just major differences, and we can say yes, for sure, the plans that were set in place, for sure, the separations that were put in place, the hurt, the trials that they've gone through here, that's very different and unique to this place, in the land that we live in. What can we do if we don't want this man to be recognized as another man? What we can do is just get his family and his children to not honor him, so then he won't matter as much, right? Like, that's a deeper conversation. Once we can convince them that that he doesn't matter as much, then we don't really have much of a battle to continue to go through. So it's a deeper conversation, and I think that it does create a different situation, and also the different mindset as well. However, that does not negate the fact that the women of today are not fighting, okay, for anything. The only thing that they're fighting for is their ability to pick, choose, and refuse, and do whatever it is that they want to do whenever that it is that they want to do it. And nobody can tell them anything. Nobody can say anything. Nobody can check them. Like how Zeus is saying, if an older lady does that to a woman over here, that older lady better be prepared to get cussed out.
Absolutely.
Okay, because they don't even have respect for like the older generation. There is none of that.
Oh,
If you see we can go to New York right now, and there'll be a young girl who's on the train and the older woman, and if there's one seat, the young girl gonna sit down. She'll be all right.
mm-hmm.
She'll
I've
be
seen it
okay.
happen right in front of me.
Instead of like, okay, yeah, like the right thing to do is to respect you and put you. No, it's not happening. So there's major differences, but it still doesn't still
Mm-hmm.
okay
It's
negate the
it's
situation.
it's a lot
Yes.
easier to believe a comfortable lie than the uncomfortable truth, for sure.
Yep.
Yes.
It's so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And women tell each other lies all the time. Oh, that dress looks good on you, even though you look like a balloon. Okay, like there's like
Yes.
But
Yes.
think of their daily routine though. They put on makeup. They put on all these accessories and things like that. They're literally lying to the world, to themselves, just by the very act that they do. Like,
Mhm.
so why is it so different for them to even to remain in a lie? They that's why it's so easy. They don't have to realize that.
And I want to address this comment from Charlotte Rapp. It said women had no rights, no jobs, no choice, hence why they married young, stayed in um relationships that were harmful, and settled for less than.
But
I'm tired of this lie.
even then, those
I'm
women
tired of
had the
this lie though.
had
I'm tired
power.
of this lie. No, women were dedicated. They were dedicated to their family. They were dedicated to their units. They were dedicated again to their community. They found it a nice, joyful duty to be able to cater to their family. They were when people are trying to say that they had no rights, no jobs, no choice, they didn't even know they had no rights, no jobs, or no choice. Okay? They didn't think that there needed to be another choice. It's
Life was life.
modern women putting their mindsets onto the older generations.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that they could think that they were bound in a situation when that's all they've ever seen. It's
Absolutely.
just like if a baby sees a french fry, right?
Mm-hmm.
The baby only knows that it's something that the baby might want to eat because it sees you eating it, right? So if the baby does not see you eating a french fry, it doesn't know that it wants a french fry. Okay? Same thing with dogs. Dogs only want your food that you eat once it drops on the floor and they taste it and it tastes good one time. Okay? If not, if they're just eating their little kibbles and bits, they're just going to keep on eating the kibbles and bits and think it's the best food in the entire world. Okay, so it's not a one size fits all situation. There are situations that things happen regardless of the generation. But I'm tired
Mm-hmm.
of people saying what they think the women went through back then when more times than not, okay, I'm not going to say that there wasn't some women complaining, but more times than not, the people who were complaining were the mothers of our current generation, not those women. They saw their mother going through this and they were like, I never want to be like her. And then they taught their daughters, don't be like this, be independent, be this, be that. But you saw no results of somebody being without a husband. And now you're creating generations of women without husbands because you thought that was a better way to go. And the women's right movement is the last thing I'm gonna say about this. The women's right movement had nothing to do with us.
Absolutely not.
That was not our movement.
We just got kind of shoveled in the mix.
It was not our business. That was a white woman business to figure out what her man, because her and him was fighting for power. They weren't talking to us or thinking about us, okay? Because we were still just a number to them. We couldn't even eat with them. So I don't even want to go down that whole entire rabbit hole. That's a problem. That's a problem to begin with. That's the reason you so busy trying to be equal to your man, but you wasn't trying to figure out how to be cooperative with him. That's foolishness. Anyways, okay, I'm going ahead and wrap this up. Okay, you guys saw me cooking this whole stream. So I am finally gonna go eat and just wrap this up. But this, initially we were talking about being annoying, and I think we hit some amazing points. Okay, amazing points. Tone of voice is important. Okay, talking to him, not at him, is important. Being clingy is not cute. Okay, it's not cute. Give him some time to miss you. Give him some space. And the moral of the story, and more than I can say than anything, is just a lot of women in relationships, you have to get to know your spouse. You have to get to know what works for your spouse, your man, your relationship, what he likes, what he does not like. And the only way you can learn that is to sit down and observe him and spend time with him. Don't be around him and just keep running your mouth, because how are you ever going to know anything that he's thinking if you're the only one talking? You have to give him the space to spend that time. And then we're going to travel down this journey. Okay. Zeus, I don't know if I have your email. Do you have an Instagram? Do you have me on Instagram?
I literally messaged you this morning.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. I messaged you on Instagram.
That's a very good signal. Yeah. Okay, good signal. Good. But we're going to deepen this conversation of like where people are from. I see Uncle here. I think Uncle. I didn't even see. You see what I'm? Wait, there's two people here.
One last thing.
What the heck,
Guys like whenever a woman is there, but not there.
Right. Like, hey, you're close enough that if I did want to call you, I could, but not so involved. Okay, Frank, I didn't see you here. And then Uncle, I want you guys to go ahead and just give your final thoughts on this conversation as well.
I gotta go later, Zeus.
Thank you so much for joining.
All right, folks. I'm gonna let him do his thing, and then I'm gonna come on by after Frank.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Brother.
Thanks, Rivah, for having me. I'm a fan of your channel from the UK. 21 years old, and I'm just learning a lot from you guys as you guys speak. So I've been knowing about the whole manosphere and all this stuff for about a year now. And I myself grew up with weak men. They were raised by mother. And all the women were dominating, because I was born in Zimbabwe. And so it's a whole thing. But I want to say thank you. I'm just literally just learning from everyone here. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, I was. Hold on one second, Uncle. I'm sorry. I thought I don't know why I thought the resident was going to say something. That's why I paused. But that's funny because I feel like as you're talking, resident is like nodding his head that he can relate as well. Yep. So I'm just glad that we can all create this space that everybody can come together and kind of like deep. Again, my main thing is to continuously like deepen the conversation and make you think. Like when you walk away, you think more, maybe you research more as well. Uncle, yes.
Yeah, I dig this conversation about being annoying and all that. And like when I say that they was funded and subsidized to be the way they are, you know, it's documentation to prove that. Actually, one of your faithful, what's his name, Bobby, right? He hit me on Instagram. He hit me up and showed me this picture of this guy, Dr. Hubbard or something like that. I'm saying his name. Anyway, he hit me up and it was more documentation that they were literally paid to basically be sellouts to the black collective. Like they was literally paid to sabotage. You know, our own people was paid to sabotage our marriage rates. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's really documented. And that's one of the major difference because imagine if the black woman, I wouldn't even call them black women. Imagine if the black females of that time would like in the 60s and 70s. I mean, that was a very elevated time in history. Not just in America neither, in South America and along with Africa. It was a very elevated time. It was a time where black people throughout the diaspora was, you know, they was having a conversation, you know, and it's just and that's what it was. And like in all parts is like no matter what, there was a class. There's always been a class of traders, mammies. There's always been a class of traders. I mean, none of this that we're going through is new. It's just that because we have cell phones and we're able to, the world is smaller based on based on these communication devices. You know, might I add that black men created. But a lot of yeah, I mean, you can look up who they use the cell phone, internet technology to the technology to even make the cell phone and the internet software that we use. Yeah, that's anyway. The biggest like I said, it's not all black women are not the problem. Black women are not the problem. It's just these black females who are imitating black women that are the problem.
There you go.
And as we know, when a black woman is in her family, she get a lot of times when married people be married, they be in a bubble. Because they live in their life as they should.
Absolutely.
But a lot of them should have been the community activists of the time to be able to combat this. Now I don't blame them. Like I said, black people, we only fight when we can see it coming. We don't really understand the chess game when it comes to war.
Right.
You know, so that's gonna lead into some other topic. What I want to say about it is just that they was really paid to be that way. Now, like me, I noticed with my daughter, her disposition compared to her cousin's disposition. You know, they're totally different. It's just like, you know, she's a lady. Like she's a lady. You can't even. I want her to curse. She won't even curse for me. She don't want to curse.
Good.
And she's just so innocent. You know what I'm saying? Versus a lot of people she do that they're not as in order as she is. You know, because they never like I've been down since she was born. So it's like, you know, she's listened to me, you know. I mean, anyway, let me get in. So a lot of times the father element, like they would literally subsidize and not put like all child support is baby mama support is basically alimony without the marriage. You know, that's all it is. Alimony without the marriage. And not to say it's wrong if you got a deadbeat person who's not handling the responsibility financially for the child, do your thing. But a lot of times they don't do that. They don't use they use child support as a weapon. I mean, they don't use it as a person who's not taking care of the child. They use it because, oh, I'm gonna get you locked up because you don't want to be with me no more.
Right.
So that's so it's just a power play. So in order for us to turn this around, we're gonna have to set up some schools, man. We got to set up some charm schools, make some ladies. We're gonna have to build some women. I mean, on the women who know what to do, they need to. If men need to fund these women and making these schools, the only way, like our natural enemy, indoctrinated them. So we need to do some indoctrinating to get them on our side too. Shoot.
and that's why I come on here and have these conversations. Okay, because if you look left in his foolishness and you look right in his foolishness, look at Rivah. Okay, stay focused. She gonna tell you what it really is. And then I wanted to read these comments really quick. Charlotte said, "Does it matter who started it?" And we were talking about feminism. It absolutely matters. Because the context of the entire background of the situation as to why a movement is started, you would need to know where that person is from and what is the reason for starting such a movement. So it definitely does matter who started it. And then Live from NYC says, an ex-columnist from Cosmopolitan admitted she wrote feminist articles because it sold, and she admitted that it damaged the state of women in general. Yep. Right. So women as a whole. So that's a really, really interesting situation, very, very interesting situation. Somebody said, didn't Monique do that? She tried to change a bunch of thoughts. The thing is that it's not even about change, right? It's about having knowledge that's out there that if you're looking for it and if you're attracted to try to find it, it's easily accessible to you. Because when we look, especially on this platform, if you want something that's going to be women empowerment, if you want something that's going to be like, oh girl, you don't need no man, you can click on and you can find a million different people telling you the same thing. It's rare that you find people who are telling you about traditional values, right? Or knowing your role in relationships, because that seems so old school, so far-fetched. And it's not necessarily the in or the cool thing. And what I try to let people know is that it's not about being in or cool. It's about, if you want to be married, if you want to be in a long-term relationship, you might want to change your way of thinking. Because if you don't need the man, how is the man going to come there and do anything that's going to make you happy or please you, when you yourself can't even be pleased because of the things that you've been fed? So yes, I think we've covered a lot of bases. We had some disagreements on the panel between Kirk and Demetrius, but both very good points, very strong points as well. So I definitely want to say thank you guys for coming into this live stream. I missed a couple of you guys the last time when I was live. So, and I know this was very impromptu, right? I know you guys are not used to me on Thursday. So I do want to say thank you guys for coming in and being a part of this conversation. Frank, thank you so much for joining. I know this was your first time joining, but you're definitely more than welcome to always pop up whenever you see that link drop. Resident, haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you as well. Kashan, of course. A1 Day 1, Uncle Oak, A1 Day 1. Edward is gone. Kirk, of course, for stopping in. Zeus for stopping in. And Edward, of course, who he had some trouble with the internet. So he couldn't stay too long. And also Tech, who stopped in as well, who's the first person to speak. So and Mr. Steele as well. So we had a lot of people who jumped into this conversation. So thank you guys so much for joining this conversation. I appreciate it. I know, like I said, this was like a random live stream, but it came to my mind this morning and I knew that I could come here and talk about it and you guys would be down for this conversation. So thank you guys so very much for joining me this evening. You have one more day for some of you. I know most of you guys end your work week tomorrow. So you got one more day. Hopefully I've given you the strength to keep on pushing. And
no days off, every day.
Right. I will see you guys in the next video. Kashan, you want to say something?
Yeah, one more thing I want to say. I just wanted to respond to that comment about social media.
Mm-hmm.
So people may not realize, but social media is an extension of media as a whole. Media has always been around. It started with the radio, then it went to television, Now it's in our hands. So
Yep.
when I mention social media, I'm talking about media as a whole.
Very good point.
It has taken a big effect on how we think about things because of what was presented to us through those
mediums.
Exactly.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because now the same media that's been around is just at our fingertips. Because when we see something go wrong, right, in the world, for the first place that we all see it is on Instagram, but it's the same thing that's on CNN and all those other places. So that's a very, very good point. I'm glad that you said that too, because that's so true. Because so many people think social media is just Instagram, Facebook, this and that, but not realizing the knowledge that comes through it is the same exact thing.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Because now, no, you're right. Because now people don't read newspapers. They don't have to. They just go on their phone. But yes, thank you guys so much for joining. I feel like we always have really good thought-provoking conversations. We really, really do. And so make sure you guys hit that like button on your way out. If you didn't hit it on the way in, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be a reaction video tomorrow morning. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Later.
Good night.
You can step into my world, see the way I see it, no matter near or far. It is a sight worth seeing. Step into my world, see the way I see it.